Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, and she's busted. She's busted, y'all. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, support the platform. Let everybody know Cool Figure Live. Salute, Queen. Yes, brother, roll up that good denim, man. We knew that Kamala haven't even been able to put together the proper sentences when she's speaking. All of a sudden, she knows what to say. She not answer the questions. Because what we're going to get into is not about answering the questions because they don't want her to tell the truth because the truth shows what type of person she really is. It was to dodge the questions perfectly. She's busted.
So you're telling me this woman was wearing an earpiece throughout the entire debate?
Calls, they blame the refs. They might even blame cheating inside of the infrastructure of the game. There are ways to predict what plays are going to go and happen, and maybe there's a scandal at play. The Patriots were caught up in a scandal like this. University of Michigan caught up in a scandal like this. This stuff does happen, right? Where teams do cheat in order to get ahead. However, oftentimes it is a cope, all right? And normally it is not egregious cheating or refs getting paid bags of cash behind the scenes. Typically, this is a cope for the losing side, and so it's to be dismissed. However, what about when the refs admit that they're cheating? What about when there's obvious technology that is being deployed by one side in order to beat the other side? That is the situation that we find ourselves in here when it comes to the game war zone of modern day politics. There was a debate 24 hours ago with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And I saw this rumor that Kamala Harris was wearing an earpiece. You know, this has been something that you often hear, but Barack Obama is decades old, right? Obama wears an earpiece. Joe Biden wore an earpiece, and you don't really think much of it. But now the company that has apparently, that allegedly created the earpiece that Kamala Harris allegedly wore, well, they've come out and been like, hey, that looks just like our earpiece, and we'll make one for Trump. Huh? And now Trump campaign spokesperson and senior advisor is, well, amplifying that.
If we can't trust that the vice president's words are not her own words, how can we trust her in office behind the scenes when he's not in front of the camera? We simply can't. I don't know what they have to do in the future to prevent things like this from happening. I don't care whether you have to do drug tests or you have to do a body scan, whatever you have to do. Because if you cheat on a test in 8th grade, you're getting detention. You're getting punished for it. Yet when you're running for the most powerful position on earth, you can kind of get secrets, people whispering you the answers. This can't happen.
The reason she needed the earpiece isn't that so she could answer the questions, because she answered no questions. She told a bunch of lies. That's not the point. The point for the earpiece is because when Kamala gets nervous, she cackles and start laughing and looks like a crazy person. They want to make sure she didn't do that. So every time she got nervous, they told her exactly what to say, go into her campaign speeches. That's why she was so brilliant with her campaign rehearsed speeches when they asked her a question. So some people say, well, she had an earpiece. Well, then that would mean they can answer questions. It's not about answering the question. It's about not being nervous and cackling like a fucking crazy person.
This is a real tweet from Jason Miller.
Salute. Jason
Miller's a real person. We know him. He's a good dude. Okay. He's a senior advisor to Donald Trump. And he said, company that responds to theory that Kamala Harris wore audio earrings at the debate, the resemblance is striking. Huh? What did the company say? First off, let's jump into this because I think it's worth setting down a fact pattern. All right. So what do we know? What don't we know? What we know is that there have been instances of Kamala Harris wearing visible earphones in order to create a environment where she doesn't have to answer questions or where she is able to answer questions in a specific way. Here I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris avoiding the press by wearing wired headphones. There you can see
it's her job to
wired
answer
headphones.
Questions.
Her little salute. She doesn't even take her headphones off. And then at the end of the video, which is just too perfect, you can see Kamala Harris here talking with the phone to her ear with the wired headphones still in. There you go. Got it? Great. LOL. Harris called out for sneaky tactics to avoid press questions. There's the photo of her. Look, this is, it's completely fraudulent. But it gets, it gets to the point. It accomplished the goal that Kamala Harris didn't want to answer questions. And she put headphones in order to do that. Conspiracy theory rages among Trump supporters following the presidential debate as viewers question Kamala Harris's earrings. So here are the earrings. You can see there. Got a pearl and like a little gold piece, I guess. And here is a company. It's a German startup company called Nova. Now, this company is a company that is that has earrings that effectively act as wireless smart audio headphones. This is the company themselves. All right, here you go. This is real company. Nova H1 audio earrings, headphones, earrings. Okay, it's a real company, real thing. And what they do is first and only wireless headphones embedded into a pair of pearl earrings.
You know what needs to be done right now? You need to ask Kamala Harris a direct question. Were you wearing these earrings? I'm not saying audio was being transmitted, but were you wearing these specific earrings? If she says yes, then we have an answer. If she says no, then we start doing some investigations, find out if anyone in her close circle has purchased these earrings, and then we can deduce and find out the truth, because it's not hard in the digital age nowadays.
Here, they're expensive. Okay. Okay. So they're trying to fund it. Got it. They're doing a funding period. First clip-on headphones on the planet. The earrings are fully packed with latest technology embedded. Real pearl earrings provide music, phone calls, digital assistance all day long. Conventional earrings, the Nova H1s, are placed in the earlobes to project the sound from inside of the pearl straight into your ear canal. So they are silent. Directional sound technology, they call it. So do they look similar to you? Does that look, it looks pretty,
I think they are, but
okay. I don't know, man. They look kind of similar. So whatever. Everyone called it a conspiracy theory. Everybody came out and said, Kamala busted for wearing earphone earrings. And everybody, people have now, obviously gone through and shown the similarities. And, the pearl earrings, and they do look similar. These wireless earbuds look neat. Anyway, totally unrelated photo of Kamala Harris at the debate. This is what the wireless, this is what they look like. Okay. And this is Kamala at the debate. I see the resemblance, obviously.
The more I learn about politics, the more I learn you cannot believe in coincidences. If things like this consistently happen, you start waking up to the possibility, yeah, maybe they actually are cheating. Because if you think about what's at stake, with the state of the free world in their grasp and trillions of dollars at stake, you don't think these people would be willing to bend the rules here and there a little bit and try and get away with stuff? Let's be real. These people will go to any lengths to gain some sort of advantage over the other person. There needs to be more investigation into this to see if we can find the trace to when she actually bought it. But it's just a sorry sight to see. Don't you have the cognitive
about her policy positions. Vice President Kamala Harris did not do a great job today really explaining her policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions. Vice President.
Raise your hand if the border is a big issue. Okay. Who won the debate about the border tonight? If you think that Kamala Harris had the strongest position on the border tonight, raise your hand. 4 of you. Well, if you think President Trump had the strongest position on the border, raise your hand.
Oh, ABC really aired this poll. They really aired this poll, man. Which candidate won the debate?
Versus Kamala Harris, or so that debate was a bunch of BS. I mean, was this a debate between Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, or a debate between Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris versus the moderators? Because the moderators were literally debating Trump and even fact checking him. They were like, Trump, it says right here, like, that's not correct. We got a piece of paper from a manager that says, like, that's not correct. But they didn't even care to fact check Kamala Harris on the propaganda Project 2025. Yeah, it was very biased. It was so biased. And this is exactly why he has my vote. This is exactly why I'm voting for him. And y'all also noticed how Kamala Harris left her accent outside. Just so fake, disingenuous, phony, very condescending. So that debate was a bunch of BS. I mean,
We gotta start it off right. This is what President Trump just said about the debate. I thought this was my best debate ever, especially since it was 3-on-1. What's going on to them beautiful patriots, my brothers and sisters? I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you beautiful people's life, man. I love you guys, man. Wishing the best for you, your family, your friends, the neighbors, the strangers around the world, man. One love to the human race. But this is big right now, this debate.
Salute, family.
And right now, as you see, look up to my right, up the top right here, rigged with almost 100,000 posts within the hour, is trending. And as you can see, this is one reason they're saying rigged, due to the moderators, and there's a big situation right now with the earrings that she was wearing, as y'all can see. Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna say this again for y'all just coming in. The earrings that were earpieces, the reason she had them in wasn't to get the answers, because she didn't want to answer no questions. But understand, Kamala telling the truth is bad for her. They never wanted her to tell the truth. They want her to pretend like she's not who she really has been. The earpiece was, every time she get nervous, was to calm her down and to feed her campaign slogans, so she wouldn't start cackling and looking like a fool on TV. And that's what they were for. And that's what they did.
Audio earrings.
She answered no questions. Remember that. I'm going to show that.
So, but again, Trump versus everybody else, man. The moderators, Kamala, you know, and he exposed her for what she is.
Now they exposing that the Greek freak that was the sorority sister who was a moderator. That's crazy. That's her sorority sister. That's crazy.
You know, you just can't make it up. You just can't make this up, man. But what do y'all think? You know, what do y'all think about this whole debate, man? But everybody is talking about these earrings, as you can see. This is huge. And I want to bring this to everybody's, excuse me, sorry about that, but I want to bring this to everybody's attention. You know, I want to keep you guys updated to what's going on. What is everybody talking about? You know, she didn't get fact checked not one time. As you can see, they fact checked Trump so many times. Not one time that did she get fact checked. But everybody's talking about these earrings, and look at people. Look at these. Oh man. But this woman hasn't been able to put together a sentence ever. Now she knows. She knew the questions, and again, we told y'all that she would have the questions beforehand.
It's not about the questions. They wrong. She didn't answer no questions because it's not about knowing the questions. They probably fed her that too, so she would be. It was about them feeding her campaign slogans and speeches so she can calm down. That's what the earpiece was for. She answered no questions.
You know,
so it's
a lot of people wanted a huge word salad. You know, we got a couple of the word salads, but we didn't get like a disastrous word salad.
Nah, that's what we was keeping her from doing. Cackling, rambling on, word salads, and that's what they did.
We really wanted to, like, what is she talking about?
Up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what
nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war. That's because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin. And she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate. You're going to hear a bunch of lies.
You see, that it's just crap, man. It's just crap. And I'm glad everybody is calling her out on this, man. I am glad they are calling her out on this. You know, it is crap, man. Look at everybody posting about this. They say it was rigged and Trump still won. I'm just reading you what everybody's posting. Everybody's posting about these earrings. Everybody is posting about these earrings, you guys. Look, you can't make this up, man. Everybody's posting the exact same things. And they're saying Trump still won, you know. It is ridiculous, man. Oh, man. Oh, boy. You just can't make this up, man. What do y'all think? Comment down below. You just
we are all the LFR family. Thank y'all so much for clicking play. Hopefully you click the like button as well. That's the only price of admission for my live streams, to click that like button. So smash that bad boy, guys. Get it up to like 500, 800 likes in the next 10 minutes. Also, if you're feeling extra generous, please do me a favor and hit the share button. Hit the share button, copy the link, and share it on Facebook groups, Reddit, LinkedIn, X. Make sure you tag me in those posts so that I can show you some love. Shout out to all of my blues. Much love to you, D pulled up, AD. What's going on, Lisa Marie? I haven't heard from Lisa Marie in a long daggone time. Are we beefing? What's up, B? Hopefully you're feeling well. Shout out to B and shout out to everybody who are in support of the LFR family. Last night's debate on ABC between Kamala and both of the moderators versus
Salute, family in here.
It was the same story all over again. It pissed me TF off, all right? Because I wanted to see something fair. Can we ever have anything that's fair in this country, man, so that people can make a daggone decision without us trying to set the table, without us trying to play like we're in control of it, and we need to. Do y'all really believe in Kamala Harris? If you do, then let her off the damn leash, bruh. That's all I'm saying. If you really believe in Kamala, let her off the leash. Let her fight for herself. Let her do what y'all claim she's capable of doing. Also, hold her accountable. That's only going to make her stronger. If you allow her to take all of the answers home a week before the debate, so she can study and work on her little zingers and side-eye Trump and throw all these nasty words and talking about this person I was talking to said that you're the worst, and this person said that you're a disgrace, and this person worked with you and they said this, and she kept on saying that he was the negative one. This dude was like, can we talk about something of substance, please? My gracious. She even brought up his MAGA rally numbers. Like she was going all out, and they was allowing it. They was like, yeah, do it again. And they was, oh my God, it was the worst. So today, in today's live stream, it's going to be lit. We're going to start off by Trump's closing statement. Then we're going to move on to Megyn Kelly tearing a new asshole into these ABC moderators and the Democrats, letting them know that we saw the tricks, we see what y'all did. Then we're going to go to some Ben Shapiro, and then we're going to go to some people who were sitting back there watching the whole thing and listen to what the people have to say. Who are they voting for now? What did they think about the debate? Trust me, you can't trick everybody all the time, Democrats. Stop trying. Like, let the people have a voice. Let us see what's real out there so we can make a decision. Nah. They continue to play these games because they can't win on their own merit. They are completely against merit. They want to stack the deck so that they can always win, because that's the only way they feel they can win. And that's just sad. All right, let's start it off, man. Shout out to all of you guys. Please make sure you hit the like button. That would be absolutely phenomenal. Watch this right here. This right here was probably the best debate closing I have seen in my years of watching debate.
At the end,
he crushed her with this debate close. Okay, let me be quiet.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like, we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us.
And he didn't hit on that enough. I have covered world leaders flying to Mar-a-Lago. Never in the history of America have any world leaders come to America. Bush had the Saudis. Only the Saudis flew to Bush Ranch to pay him off all the dirty business he did. Few people come to see Bill Clinton. No, we're all going to Mar-a-Lago right now to talk to Trump. Nobody going to see you, Otis. Nobody going to see no damn Kamala or Joe Biden. He should have hit on that more when she said none of the world leaders respect you. Are you a lie? They flying to Mar-a-Lago to talk to him, not her.
Us as a nation, we're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire...
Putin just threatened him today. Putin just threatened, man. See, I gotta have some time to get into that. Putin just threatened the U.S. and U.K. today. These people are out of their fucking minds. Zelensky getting his ass kicked. He begging to strike deep into Russia with U.S. and U.K. weapons. They keep telling him no. He begging. They really want to do it anyway. But Putin just had to come out and remind the U.S. you playing with your own life. He said he could good sleep at night where he at. But let them know. He already warned them that he was gonna hit the centers where the decisions was made. He was gonna spare the civilians. He already warned them they wasn't gonna be able to hide out from him if they do this. And he warned them again today that he not playing with Britain and the U.S. He said he will, boy, they did keep it up.
Military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank
1,000%. I need one of them horns that said, wham, 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 wham. I also need a mic drop, because that's exactly what happened. If you listen to Kamala that whole night, everything that he just now explained describes her and the Biden administration perfectly. And then every time he tied her to it, she tried to distance herself. And they let her. They let her. You are not going to have, let's say she does win. If we are babying her and protecting her and trying to make sure she gets across the finish line, don't worry, we'll help you. How strong of a president do you think we will have? I mean, really? Really? President Trump killed her with this debate close. He pointed out everything she's doing with immigration, the failed economy, everything that she's doing. She says that she wants to make sure that there's enough houses for Americans, but you fix that by bringing over 20 million illegal immigrants? Okay, let's make sure it's more houses for Americans by bringing over 20 million new people to compete for houses. And then on top of that, we're going to give them $25,000 toward a house, all right? Only if they're illegal immigrants. We're giving them that. We're going to give them vouchers that have like tens of thousands of dollars on it to take care of them and their families. We're going to put them up in housing, in brand new hotels and shelters. And who are we going to move out the way? Actual citizens of the city. We're going to move out the way veterans who deserve to have those positions and have that money and have those goodie bags that they're giving out to all these illegal immigrants. I appreciate that although it was 3 against 1, Trump held her feet to the fire the entire time. He would not let up. She kept on saying, all he's going to do is talk about illegal immigrants and all he's going to do. Of course, because that was your failure. Why should he talk about anything else? That's all I would have talked about all night. They would have got mad at me. They would be like, Mr. Ex-President, could you please talk about something other than the illegal immigration? No, because this chick, and I'm sure Trump wanted to call her, like, man, this bitch. I'm sure he wanted to call her a female dog. I'm sure he wanted to call her all types of names. What's going on dysfunctional TV? They jumped this man. This was a political gangbang. You're not going to hear this on any other channel. You're not. This was clearly a political gangbang. They had the lube, they had the leather, they had the handcuffs, they had the ball to put in his mouth that they wanted to shut him up with. They had the whip, they had the heels to step on his back, all of that freaky stuff. And they tried to get him, but they did not. The joke is on y'all because y'all tried it and you failed miserably. And guess what they're trying to do now? They are going out of their way to only have, like, let's debate again, but we're not going to do it on Fox. It got to be on NBC or it got to be on CNN or we already did ABC. Only our friends can host it because we got to make sure we have the cards stacked against the other side because we can't win fair and square. They've proven this time and time again. Alejandro Mayorkas was lying the entire time, acting as if they was not strong-arming social media platforms. And then what did main man from Facebook do? I forgot his daggone name. What did he do? He outed them. He let them know what was really going on. We already knew. We already knew the Hunter Biden laptop was out there, and it shouldn't have been it was no Russian collusion. It was no lies. We knew what it was. All right, let me be quiet, man. I told y'all what the play was. Let's go, man. We got some more. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. Please hit the like button, man, so we can all witness this political gangbang that happened last night. Megyn Kelly is about to give them the business. Let me go and be quiet. Megyn Kelly, go ahead, get it.
Well, I watched it. Did you watch it? I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm
Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you, guys.
Ashamed of those moderators at ABC News. They did exactly what their bosses wanted them to do. The person who runs ABC News is a close personal friend of Kamala Harris that is responsible for Kamala Harris and her husband meeting. And they did Dana Walden's bidding tonight. It was 3 against 1 on that debate stage this evening. Hi, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. A special program tonight for you reacting to the debate.
I just want to let y'all know, I made this thumbnail last night, right after the debate. I did not see Megyn Kelly talking about it. I did not see Fox News. I did not see Ben Shapiro. I did not see any of those guys talking about it. The whole time I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, man, they are going against this dude. They keep on fact checking him. They be like, President Trump.
While we watch,
we've seen many times where you was being disparaging and rude and mean and nasty. Could you tell us if you regret being mean, nasty, and rude? And then Donald Trump would answer, and then they'd be like, Kamala, do you think he was being mean, nasty, and rude? How mean, nasty, and rude do you think Donald Trump was being? Come on, let me be quiet, man.
It was 3 against 1. It's very easy to look like you know what you're doing when both moderators are entirely on your side. Trump did the best he could under the circumstances, but it really was like 3 fighters in the ring pummeling one opponent. And Trump tried to take them all on.
That's election interference.
He did fine. He did as best as he could. He was thrown a few times to the point where he was unnecessarily defensive and he was getting angry. And so was I. Were you? This was a mistake to trust ABC News with this debate. The Republicans must learn from this mistake. The same way the Democrats never agree to do anything
with that debate
with moderators they don't entirely trust. This should be the last time the Republicans ever do this. Because those 2 moderators tried to sink Donald Trump tonight. The numerous fact checks on what he said and none on what she said. None. I don't remember a single fact check of anything she said, and she lied repeatedly.
Absolutely. And when I got the video, even CNN came out later on that said she lied about 9 or 10 times. She lied over and over and over, and they refused to fact check her.
He just got away with it. In the moderator's eyes, that was Donald Trump's job to fact check her. That's correct. Except you didn't employ that same tactic when it came to Trump. And you accused him of lying even when it was your opinion that he lied.
Right.
When Trump tried to say that his comment that he lost 2020 by a whisker was him being sarcastic, David Muir actually injected saying, I didn't hear sarcasm. Who gives a shit what you heard?
That's for real. Bro, bitches, 350 million of us. Who the hell you think you is talking about? Oh, Mr. President, I didn't hear the sarcasm. So what? So what? That's crazy. She absolutely right. What the hell is wrong? They was trying to rig the election.
I actually remember that part. I'm like, what?
That was disgusting.
This dude is catching the attitude. This dude is like, no, I got him. I wasn't listening. I didn't hear no sarcasm. That didn't sound right to me. Who the hell are you? You are the moderator, bruh. Moderate. moderate. You were chosen to be in front of me and moderate. So goddamn gonna do your job. You are in history right now because of me running for president. Be respectful, bro. But they put these what you call it? These I'm just gonna be quiet, man. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm all over the place. I'm pissed. Are you upset? Like, seriously, are you upset? All right, let's go.
Who died and left you, political analyst in chief? You're supposed to be the objective news anchor of World News Tonight. That's a comment you make to your significant other, David, not on the debates. It didn't sound like that to me. Shut up. That is inappropriate. It's not for you to make that call. Leave it up to Kamala Harris. Leave it up to people like me who will play the soundbite and let the audience decide. But you were out of line, and they did it to him over and over and over again. And the worst piece of all of this is the obvious tactic by ABC News, which was as follows. Mr. Trump, you said something incredibly controversial and terrible. Let me remind you of what it was. Do you have any regrets or thoughts on how terrible you were?
It's a fact.
Trump answers. Vice President Harris, how bad is Trump?
Yep.
And then she'd answer.
Yep.
It happened over and over again.
Yep. Come on. Everybody watched that live stream. I told you, like, what the hell is this? They would ask Trump very aggressive questions, then ask her to speak on how aggressive the question was about Trump, like giving her a soft, nothing hard. That was crazy.
That was the format. Mr. Trump, you're a piece of shit. Kamala Harris, isn't he a shit?
This is exactly what was happening the entire night.
They know hyperbole.
And I'm watching, and I'm looking over at Kamala, and she just looks so she looks so proud of herself. Kamala over there looking like she is killing it.
She won, and nigga, what? She didn't have no debate. She didn't debate Trump. The moderators did. She didn't debate. Trump was out there fighting and swinging and kicking. She just repeating campaign speeches. They letting her rant on about the greatness, America, the future of America, and what's to become, and not taking no. But she messed up by letting Trump go last, getting his closing argument. He reminded people all of this good, great stuff she's telling you she's gonna do, why she's not doing it. And that reminded everybody, like, oh yeah, this lady is in office. So all of that really was for nothing.
She looked like she is killing it. Kamala, I hope somebody sent us. Kamala, you did not kill it, baby girl. I apologize. You did not kill it. You was some trash last night.
Though.
Your memory was on point.
I gotta admit that. Y'all gotta admit she survived. So I expected Trump to go in there and mop the floor with her, have a cackling, looking crazy, and can't answer nothing. That's not what happened. Because the earpiece kept her calm, and they fed her campaign rally speeches so she wouldn't laugh. She didn't laugh and cackle. She bit her tongue when Trump was getting her and told her, I'm speaking. They told her, no, just sit there. She didn't go crazy. They helped her. They the Democrats, we can't, they not lightweights now. They people vicious. They ain't going down without a fight, and they showed Trump they will rig this thing, man. But the key demographic, the independents, like he had like a 14-point bump, I think, with independents. The independents were disgusted with what the Democrats did.
Point your performance. I'm gonna be sassy black tonight. I'm gonna roll my eyes. I'm gonna roll my neck. I'm gonna look at him with the stank face. The whole time she was responding with her face, shaking her, trying to talk over him. And Trump got her with I gotta find this video. Trump got her good, bro. Trump got her good. He was like, wait a minute, I was talking. Now, does that sound familiar?
Andy hit it with, does that sound familiar? That's a knockout blow. But since they was rigging it, that just kept him in the fight against 3. When he told her, I'm speaking, gave her her own little BS she was trying to set him up for. But I'm glad he didn't take debate, because he took debate on others, especially January 6th shit, bro. They know they can bait him every time to talk about January 6th, which he shouldn't do. You know, even though I know the FBI set him up, come on, bro. They was storming the Capitol, yelling, hollering, screaming, hang Mike Pence. Trump gotta stop defending that shit, man. But he don't want to let his people down, so it's a catch-22.
Hold on, let me continue.
Thank you. It was incredible. And then anything Trump said, fact check, fact check, fact check. And their fact checks were full of shit. I'm swearing even more than normal right now because I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm angry at them, at ABC, at my industry.
That's why Trump
that I want nothing to do with.
And debate. Trump saying, "Hell no, y'all crazy. You think I'm stupid? No, heck no. He knows it's not gonna be fair, no matter what he think. He thought. See, his ego and his arrogance got him into that one. He didn't owe her no debate. He could say, hell no, no. You go answer questions on TV because on TV, see, if she do a real interview, she's not gonna get away with that BS. And CNN, it's news media's demanding that she sit down and do a real interview without walks, and she sit there and tell them what her positions are, which she hasn't done yet. She's promising you she will, and it's going to be great for you, but she hasn't. She's tried a few, and it blew up in her face. Her whole economic plan, they even CNN ripped it to pieces, said it's communist and all that type of crazy shit. So,
I've never been happier to be outside and be able to say how I truly feel. And yes, even with some colorful words, because that's what the situation calls for. They're trying to steal this election. They're openly working to sink him.
And it's unfortunate that the left don't see it. The left don't see it. They choose to ignore it. They choose to act like it doesn't exist. They choose to act like that bill that was on the table.
But I wish my boy Trump would have said, they're eating your pets. Hey man, I wish he wouldn't have did that because Trump. Guess what? That is a hot topic. We might look at that too. Talk about what's going on in Ohio. Some people say they eating ducks. That's for sure. But cats and shit, other shit, I don't know if they eating cats and stuff. But Trump, he shouldn't have yelled that out. You know what I'm saying? That's giving red meat to the audience, man. And CNN even went down there to get a report on that shit. Like that's some Trump. That's like a self-inflicted wound, bro. You didn't have to yell out they're eating your cats. Like, come on, Trump. Relax, bro.
Where the Republicans came together and the Democrats came together, and the only reason why the illegal immigration is so bad is because Trump has so much power. He's so big and strong, and he called all of his friends and he said, "Don't sign that bill." Well, here's the thing that they're leaving out. Before they came together with that little cutesy wootsy bill, guess what happened on day one? Biden destroyed all of the work that Trump already did for illegal immigration.
But see, Trump did tell them don't sign the bill. I was telling them, all of us said don't sign the bill because they were trying to send the money to Ukraine and to Taiwan and Israel. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the hardliners to anti-war was saying, hell no money to nobody. Especially we already have laws in place to deal with that fucking border. You see, that was what Trump was saying. Trump, we already got laws and stuff in place. We got laws ready. Hell no. He was telling Republicans, hold on, don't sign nothing. Yeah, he got it right to say that.
They left that part out. But guess what? ABC never challenged them on that. They never challenged them on that. All of that effery that has been going on with illegal immigration is all Biden and Harris's fault. They said on day one, we're going to get rid of this illegal wall. This racist wall that Trump won. The wall, the big, beautiful wall that he want to build just for his ego. It's an ego wall. We're going to get rid of all of that. So they snatched down everything that was already being built. They destroyed all of the rules that were
she put the wall in her campaign ad. People called her out on that. You hate the wall so much. Why is she talking about it? As a prosecutor, I stop narco traffickers. And then she go to Trump wall. This lady is disgusting, man. I used the wall to stop the traffickers. I thought the wall was racist. You see, you can't trust people like that.
In place that Trump put there, and they soldered the gates open. Not only that, but they went out of their way to fly in immigrants from all over the world. Usually they have to sneak in, right? That's what I thought. But that's not what they did. Okay, let me just be quiet. Megyn Kelly, thank you so much for putting that out there. You are absolutely 100% correct.
And even with the situation that's taking place what they saying, Haitian migrants, 20-something thousand Haitian migrants. They shipped 20,000 or 15 to 20,000 Haitian migrants to a town of 60,000 people in Ohio. That's kind of crazy. How the hell, why would you switch? Why would you send 20? That's a class of civilizations. And you see what's taking place right now? They're eating the cats out. That's a class of civilization. It's 20,000 people to a city. None of us would want that. If it's 60,000 of us be one in somewhere, hell no, we wouldn't want 20,000 people to show up. Are you crazy? We finna be fighting to stay dominant in the city now. We're gonna lose a lot of jobs. Well, they done that to this town in Ohio, and I'm wondering why did they do that? But what I was saying, they don't want to talk about why is it 20,000 Haitians? Why is it that many? Because no one's talking about what Kenya and those bootlick and boule buck dancers is doing with the war in Haiti. I've been covering that. And yeah, Haitians trying to flee because there's goddamn hell over there right now because the imperialists instead of taking shit. And our brother Jimmy Barbecue is fighting back with the revolutionaries who used to be gang members. So you goddamn right. The U.S., they shipping a bunch over here, you know, and they causing more motherfucking problems. Cause shit, a lot of people don't want to come over here. They, you know, nobody want to. America is in hell right now. I don't think it's some paradise.
Every single thing you said.
A lot of these immigrants is hostages to America. That's serious business, like the Venezuelans. That's serious business, man. They is hostages to our imperial ways of stealing Venezuelan oil. They don't got no good plans for us. They don't have good plans for these Venezuelans. All bad news. That's serious goddamn business, man. And any congressional black call, everybody talking about Nicolas Maduro and Venezuela. Our presidents is the fucking problem, not Nicolas Maduro.
And I do get that you got a little passionate and you started cursing and everything. But next time you want to say the S word, just say sugar, honey, iced tea. That flows off the tongue really smoothly. And it's you still in good with the Lord when you say sugar, honey, iced tea. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can say that around kids. They won't get it. You can say it around old folks. They won't. Sugar, honey, iced tea. I like some honey. I like some iced tea, baby. You want some iced tea, baby? I'll get you some iced tea, baby. So it doesn't sound as derogatory, okay? But everything that Megyn Kelly just now said is absolutely correct because they was just baiting Trump. You are full of sugar, honey, iced tea, bruh. Could you explain why blah, 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 blah? And then they'll say, Kamala, don't you agree that he is full of sugar, honey, iced tea? Come on, man. Anybody with eyes and ears who are objective saw exactly what they were doing. All right, let's move on to the next. I told y'all we have a run, man. It's not going to be a long live stream. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. I appreciate it. Here's our next one. This one right here is a short one from your boy, Ben Shapiro. Now, I do know that Ben Shapiro usually don't, you know what I mean? He's daily wired through and through, all right? He's all about Israel. He's all about the Jews, okay? But when he saw what happened last night, he also had something to say. Listen to this right here.
She was fairly obnoxious. She lied a lot. She said a lot of things that were untrue. She was never called on any of that. The big takeaway is going to be the continued destruction of the legacy media on behalf of the Democratic Party. The legacy media have decided full scale. They are now apparatchiks of the Democratic Party. They are so far up Kamala Harris's ass that they're doing active colonoscopies with their eyeballs.
Ooh, did y'all hear that? They were so far up her ASS. They was doing an actual colonoscopy.
Democratic Party. They are so far up Kamala Harris's ass that they're doing active colonoscopies with their eyeballs. It's unbelievable watching David Muir ask questions to Donald Trump like, why are you so bad and orange and mean? And then turning to Kamala Harris and saying, and why is he so bad and orange and mean? It's absolutely insipid and totally insane. The media tonight were beyond the worst expectations that I had for them. I thought that they were going to do like a baseline creditable job because CNN did. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, they actually did that in the last debate. They actually asked questions and let people answer them. David Muir became an active participant in this debate. Lindsey Davis became an active participant in the debate. And then they never once fact-checked Kamala Harris, who lied over and over and over. She lied. She said, for example, that Donald Trump was a backroom Project 2025. A lie. She said that Donald Trump said there were very fine people on both sides of the Charlottesville riots, including the neo-Nazis. That is a lie. It's been debunked repeatedly. They did not say.
That's so crazy. Because when I first heard about that, even I didn't catch the part where it's right there. He say, not the neo-Nazis, not the white supremacists. Those are bad guys. You know, I denounce them. But you say, but then it's good people on both sides. Besides the racist bigots, that's what he said. And that's crazy they still bring that up. It's the good people on both sides except the racists, he said. They're not good people, he said. But
that was a lie. She said that he had said that he was going to unleash a bloodbath on the country if he lost. That's a full-scale lie. They never fact-checked a single thing that she did the entire night. And actually, that helps Trump.
She said, for the first time up under the Biden administration, troops were nowhere in an active war zone. They knew she was lying. There's plenty of war zones. We just lost 2 Americans last year who they say killed in Jordan, but there was a lot that died in Syria. They're steady getting bombarded in Syria. American soldiers are hurt all the time. American soldiers are hurt all the time in Iraq. Weekly, I report on that. But she lied, and they didn't say nothing. What? We at war with the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. We shooting at the Houthi rebels every day in the Red Sea. She said for the first time under the Biden administration, no soldiers are doing any of that type of shit. And they sat there and let her get away with it.
It most certainly does help Trump, in my opinion. And they did not fact check her because why would they fact check somebody that's on their team? They're not going to do it.
So
they're not going to do it. All right. Cam Raphael, he said only losers complain about the refs. You know that sound cute, but that's not true, bro. Come on. That's disingenuous. Even if you like sports, you know that's just a cute saying to put out there. All right. So now that you put your cute saying out there and I let the people know that you did it, look, hopefully you feel better about yourself. Ooh, I sure showed them. All right. So thank you so much, Ben, for saying what you had to say, brother. But watch this right here. This is the best zinger of the night. Although they were protecting they were protecting Kamala, although they was trying to make it seem like Trump was this big bad guy, Trump was chilling the entire time. Trump was looking at the camera. He was looking at the camera. He was looking at the moderators. He was looking forward while she was looking at him the entire time, just scornful, like, oh, I hate him. I hate your guts. You can tell in her face that she had so much disdain for Trump. She wanted to reach over there and choke him. Trump was acting like she ain't even exist. Did y'all see how he bossed her up in the beginning too? Oh my gracious, Trump walked in there nice and slow, walked over to his podium, never forget, before he chose to run for president, all of them kissed his ass and said they want to be like him. But Obama, he already showed that in the ad. Obama said Trump was the American dream at one time until he ran for president. All the rappers shouted him out, all of them. So when she's sitting there looking at him, it's jealousy. It's jealousy. That's all it is. It's point blank jealousy. They don't have towers and golf courses. They really want to know how much he worth. Hell no, this man is the king of hiding your money other places. You'll never know. But they bragged he was broke. He couldn't come up with the cash. He had to liquidate stuff. Man, Trump dropped $175 million in New York. They was pissed because they said he wasn't going to be able to do it. They was, where is this coming? This is Saudi Arabia's cash. Ha, suckers. Stop watching that man's pockets. Not even going to shake Kamala's hand. And she walked all the way over there. Mr. Trump, it's very nice to meet you. I'm Kamala Harris. Oh, can you sign my autograph? Can you sign my titties? She was a fan.
Yeah.
He said, nice meeting you. Let's have fun.
Come on now.
Okay. Thank you. I'm never going to wash my hand again. Trump touched my hand. Trump touched my hand.
Gotta lock black people up.
She was a fan.
Get to the top.
She finally got to meet the big bad wolf face to face.
How about that? I dare these people to bring up Central Park 5. Nigga, they looking at the prosecutor. There's a bunch of Central Park 5s, and these people is crazy. Bring them. What? Kamala Harris? The Democrats, we ain't gonna say they ain't bold, y'all. They got the nerve. He talked about the Central Park 5. And Kamala Harris locked up the Central Park 2000. Trump wanted him to die. Kamala Harris wanted that man to die and didn't want to let him off. They need to let me in the Trump team to help him debate. He need to bring that up. He need to bring it up whenever they mention Central Park 5. That lady tried to kill people on death row. A black man had to fight for his life. Trump supposed to have that at his campaign rally. The Republicans need to get off their bullshit because see some of them biggest in the Republican Party, they like that type of shit. They loved her doing that. You see, I can tell y'all that wasn't the liberal side of her. Fuck no, that was her turn. It was nothing Democratic with what she was doing. Yeah, she was already on her way to the top, and she was stepping on poor people and black people to do it. But somebody need to talk to Trump and say, hey, you need to get on her ass about that. She can't bring up Central Park 5 after what she did to all those black people and poor people in California.
And she tried to show him out
can do.
with the help of her friends from ABC. And it still did not work, dumbass. Okay, this is the part right here. I'm sorry for getting all heated, guys. I apologize. Hey, answer the poll if you haven't already. Shout out to everyone who has. Right now it's 98% to 2%. Y'all are killing it in the polls. Thank y'all so much. And click the like button, guys. Watch this moment right here. This was the thing that just the cherry on top right here.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Huh? Does that sound familiar? Man, that's the hardest line in presidential debate history. He in a fight now. You got to remember, he's waiting on the opportunity to get it to her. So he got to joust with all these moderators who trying to trip him up. He got to get her. But as soon as she gives him the opportunity, he hit her with her own move. I'm talking now. Excuse me. I'm the one talking. And then he let her know, I got you. You remember that? Oh, man. Finish her.
She went out.
Look at her face. Look at her face. See the earpiece. No, come on. She almost snapped. She almost went into, she was finna get him. But then they told her, no, don't do it. Don't do it. She was finna get him.
She went out in Minnesota.
She started blinking her eye. Yeah, lady.
She was.
Gotcha. Got him. As they say, got him. And that's what she get. She's over there laughing and giggling. Oh, you got this.
Now, once he took her finisher from her, he knew he was open to do what he want. And after that, he started yelling back at her, and she couldn't do it no more. She's like, fuck it, I ain't gonna do it. She don't want to be worthless. You can't now tell him, hey, I'm talking. I'm the one talking. He already did that, you copycat.
We all on your team. It's all of us against him. Just do what we practice. Just laugh and look at him mean and laugh and mean and laugh and laugh. You know when you're losing, you can tell somebody who is losing a conversation. The facial expressions will be like, mean, funny, laughing. She was going through so many daggone emotions. It was crazy. She was laughing, then she was calling, she was looking at her mean, and then she was rolling her eyes rolling her head and all that other stuff. Come on, man. He got you. I'm talking. Oh, do that sound familiar? Huh? Shut the hell up. I didn't interrupt you. Shut up. I waited for you to talk every single time. Now, when I'm talking, you shut the hell up. You ain't do nothing to earn my respect yet. And she did not. I'm just keeping it a buck. Anytime you ask somebody who is voting for Kamala, what has she done in her last 3.5 years that you think is a great thing? Well, she became the vice president. She became the first black president. I'm sorry, getting the job is an accomplishment. For in the job, when did getting the job become the accomplishment? Because if getting the job was the accomplishment, I've been playing this thing wrong all my life. Whenever I've been having one-on-one meetings with my supervisor, and we're trying to figure out if I'm getting a raise or not, and they ask me, why do you believe you deserve this, that, and the other? I'll be like, because I got the job and I'm black. I would have used that many times, but I didn't think I could, so I didn't. But now everybody's trying to use that for Kamala. Please make that make sense. Okay, here we go right here. All right, so shout out to Trump for holding his own against all three of them idiots while they was trying to take him down. All right, so hold on one second. Where is the last one that I got? Okay, let me go get it. I think I deleted it. Been all. I'm just too excited. I'm just too excited, guys. I'm too excited. All right, so here's the last one I wanted to show you guys right here. All right, hold on one second. I'm sweating, man. I'm just woo. Got me going back and forth with my friends. Me and my friends, we debating last night over text. They like, man, F MAGA, F Trump, F this, because black people they believe whatever they see on CNN and MSNBC and they just run with it. They have absolutely no facts whatsoever. Why was he against the bill then? Why was he against the bill? Huh? Why was he against the bill? If somebody ever say that to you, I want you to say this to them. What was in the bill? I don't know, but I know it was going to close the border. I know that it was going to be good for immigration. I know this, I know that. How do you know if you never damn seen it? You don't even know what was in the bill. You don't know what happened between the time that they took over in the as the president in 2020 and then up until that point where the bill was created. You don't know. You don't know what the numbers look like up to that point. You don't know. Talking about. All right, guys. I'm going to stop getting so daggone heated. Okay.
Between 2020 and 2024.
All right, listen to this right here. So obviously they asked some voters who was back there, and this was on CBS. CBS was asking some people about it, and I want y'all to hear what they have to say, who they will vote for, and what they thought about the debate.
He spoke facts. She just basically repeated everything that Biden has said in the past.
What were your thoughts? She made, Donald Trump made a strong closing statement by saying, why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist moderate stance is just a facade.
Amen and amen. As you can clearly see, the people are not fooled. The people are not fooled. That's it. The people are not fooled.
Lindsay Davis, Robin Roberts is right. It's a sorority thing. I don't understand it all. So you have to explain it to everybody. Sure. You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Right. Well, pearls are a symbol of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which she pledged while she was at Howard University. And the strand of pearls is symbolic of the unity and the sisterhood. Okay. But on this day, there's actually a Facebook page of women who say wear pearls on January 20th, 2021. And hundreds of thousands of women are apparently wearing pearls in support of her.
So now we find out that one of the moderators is an AKA sorority sister with Kamala Harris. You can't make this stuff up. This video is brought to you by Ground.News, brought to you by Ground.News/Tatum. We'll get to that in a second. Like and subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, the biases that we saw the other night are undeniable. And it's crazy, and I'm going to show you right here in a minute on Ground.News website. This is why I love them so much, is that you can see how the left is framing it, how the center is seeing it, and how the right is seeing it. And I'm telling you, this was a net negative against Kamala Harris. Let me just say the debate question, because people are like, Donald Trump lost. No, Donald Trump underperformed. Donald Trump was like, I don't know, if you're a Michigan Wolverine, when they lost when they barely beat Appalachian State, they lost to Appalachian State at one point, but they barely beat Appalachian State, or the University of Arizona barely beating NAU the other day. Like when you get it's the Tennessee Titans barely beating a high school team in Tennessee. That's what that was. Donald Trump is a powerhouse. He should have swept her across the floor. But as a net, he won the debate net because she didn't say nothing about her policies. She sound better in the debate. She was more prepared to rehearse, regurgitate talking points. But at the end of the day, she didn't say nothing.
That's what
She didn't say nothing about a real policy position. She didn't say nothing about the border. She didn't. I mean, a woman didn't say nothing. She didn't even say she was black. When he allegedly criticized her ethnicity, she didn't come out and say I'm black and I always be black. She didn't even say nothing about that because we all know why. But regardless of that, I think this was a net positive for Trump, just not by the margin that it should have been. Underperformed, in my personal opinion. But let me go to Ground Out News because I want to show y'all the hypocrisy of the biased media, 100%. And so the reason why I said I love Ground Out News, and y'all see when I talk about Ground Out News all the time, is that I go here to get a balanced perspective. So you go and look at the left and the biases of the moderators. Look at what they say about the biases. ABC News moderators, that the two moderators faced backlash after fact checkers and correct Trump 4 times during the debate. Oh, 4 times. They fact checked him a whole bunch and they lied, but that's not what the media say on the left. Conservatives accuse Davis and Murr, whatever his name is, of bias in favor of Harris, targeting Davis with racist and sexist comments on X. They gaslighted to turn it around to make them victims instead of being honest that they were biased. Look at the center. And this is where it matters most, in my opinion. Trump criticized ABC for fact-checking him live during the debate, calling it unfair. He claimed that the debate felt 3-on-1 and suggested the revoking Disney FCC license due to the moderator's actions. Trump stated that the CNN was much more honorable, which was true. And so the censor is not so salacious to try to blame Trump and victimize Trump. And we already know what the right says. And the cool feature on here is you could do a bias comparison and you can read what Ground Out News put together as the bias comparison. And you can look at it all right here. You can see where the news articles are coming from. And then you can have them here. You can see if they're independent. If it's the factuality, if it's on the left, it's on the right. You can find it out here. All of the outlets are here above my head. Go down here, ownership. The biggest ownership is the media conglomerates. So most of the people that are talking about this are big media. And you go down here and you want to know more about Kamala Harris, Mike Pence, which I ain't gonna even say nothing about Mike Pence right now. About the unaliving of the unborn, you can just click the plus sign and add it to your account, and you can just keep up on all the news. You'll never be caught blindsided. And speaking of blindsided, there's a blind spot option. I got to tell you guys about this. For the right and for the left. And these are articles that the left is not looking at that can blindside their campaign. The right is not looking at that can blindside the right's campaign. It goes all the way down to all of these articles. And I think this is absolutely tremendous. So make sure that you go to ground.news/Tatum, subscribe through my link. And if you go through my link, you get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is the plan that I use to get unlimited access. This is invaluable to talk about the fact that one of the moderators is a sorority sister, an AKA. And people may say, oh, no, I'm going to prove it to you. And then I'm going to show you why this is significant. And any AKA, any sorority person, any fraternity person know exactly what I'm talking about, but roll the clip.
Lindsay Davis, Robin Roberts is right. It's a sorority thing. I don't understand it all. So you have to explain it to everybody.
Sure.
If you missed it, she's holding up the sorority sign right here, the little AKA sorority sign.
Lindsay Davis, Robin Roberts is right. It's a sorority thing. I don't understand it all. So you have to explain it to everybody.
Sure.
You're a sorority sister of Kamala Harris.
Right. Well, pearls are a symbol of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which she pledged while she was at Howard University. And the strand of pearls is symbolic of the unity and the sisterhood. Okay. But on this day, there's actually a Facebook page of women who say wear pearls on January 20th, 2021, and hundreds of thousands of women are apparently wearing pearls in support of her.
Sisterhood. It's a sisterhood and loyalty that they have if you're an AKA. And this woman is an AKA, Kamala Harris, AKA. There's a sisterhood. How can you have a moderator that's already on the left that's in the sorority sister with one of the candidates, and you think that's an impartial interview? Let me play this young lady that came up. I thought she had a pretty good take on this too, about the fact that one of the ABC moderators,
Democrats don't have no shame,
was a sorority sister. Wrote a clip.
So I'm finding out this morning that one of the moderators, the lady that was up there, is actually Kamala's sorority sister. So you have the sorority sister, and then you have her best friend that is one of the execs. So now we know why there was a 3-on-1 debate. So we know that
your sorority sister is the moderator. Then one of your best friends is an executive for the network. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's outrageous.
It was a bias.
And there's a picture of the exec and Kamala Harris together, and they're the best of friends. And then you have the one woman that's moderating, and you wonder why she was so softballing to Kamala Harris, because that's a sorority sister. A sorority sister is going to stick by a sorority sister at all costs. That's just what it is. I got a family member that's an AKA, and she told me, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she's an AKA. The sorority sister stuff is legit. They're going to stick together no matter what. She will make sure that she do whatever it takes, even if it's unethical. And of course, the sorority sisters say they will never do anything unethical. But in turn, the ends justify the means. It's unethical to you. It's ethical to her because she's supporting the sorority sister. Let me finish the clip.
Debate. No questions asked. So you're celebrating for nothing because she never did get to her policy. She never answered any questions. They never fact checked her on anything. I want to bring something else to your attention, because a lot of people are distorted in knowing what a real leader is. See, Trump is a real leader. A real leader is not perfect by any means. For my Christians out there, you know David in the Bible wasn't perfect. You know Paul wasn't perfect. Noah wasn't perfect. Solomon wasn't perfect. Abraham wasn't perfect. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. King Cyrus. None of those leaders were perfect, but nonetheless, they were leaders. See, a leader shows up. They don't hide from the people. She's saying that she's a part of the people. Then where were you for 3.5 years? You didn't show up. You didn't show up for the families that was in Afghanistan. You didn't show up. All you did was hid behind the keyboard all weekend and talk about the real leader that showed up. You didn't show up to the border. Trump went to the border, even though he wasn't president. He showed up to the border. And for all you black people out there, she didn't even show up to the NABJ. Trump showed up to the NABJ. You know, so the only leader that's perfect was Jesus Christ. But even back then, in his day, they would have called him an imperfect leader because he didn't concede to their itching of ears and what they wanted to do. He wasn't all about optics. All he was about his father's business, standing on the truth. That's what Jesus was about. He's the only perfect leader. But you know, Satan, they manipulate you with flattery. That's what Satan does. He makes you, they manipulate, they polish themselves up to deceive you. See, Satan is the father of lies. Jesus is the conveyor of truth. And that's what we need during this time. It's time to rise up and speak out against the evil of the atrocities of this party, the manipulation, the gaslighting. It has to stop. And black people, y'all are sitting up here and y'all supporting this stuff. And this woman said that she wasn't doing nothing for black folks. She was locking up black men in jail left and right. And y'all still want to back her. So she's saying that it's time for a change. She is completely right. I 100% agree. It's time for a change, and it's time to get your administration, fire her administration, and move in Trump into the White House.
I just want to go to the AKA website, and I don't have nothing against AKAs. Like I say, I got a family member that's really close to me that's an AKA, and she's been an AKA for like 30 years. She still be going to these events. And so it's nothing against the AKA, but we just got to understand the loyalty of the AKA. Like these women, it's a sisterhood. This is look at this. It says they're proud to have more than 1,000 chapters and more than 360,000 initiated members in 11 nations in all states. It's a pride thing. You can't just join it. It's got to be member recommendation only. Maybe you have to be initiated. Membership is by invitation only. I mean, you have to be invited, and you have to have certain standards to be an AKA. And these things, and I'll say this, it's not a bad thing to be an AKA. It's just that you got to understand the loyalty that people have as AKAs and how the moderator is completely biased. I just don't understand how people don't look at this. All you got to do is go to their website. We'll link the website here. You know, this is a serious thing. These women take this stuff serious. It's a sisterhood for life. They wear pink and green everywhere they go. You know, I want to slip and say what family member it is, but my family member, Every time I see them, they got some pink and green on. And you can go on here and check the website out for yourself. And, you know, you see white people in this? Do you see white people in this sorority? No. They probably let an Asian get in there and a Mexican every now and again. But this is a black sorority. And they take this stuff seriously. And, of course, they're going to support their sorority sister. And all these AKAs, I put my life on it. Unless they don't tell another AKA, they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. Because that's what it is. Now, I hope in the spirit of Greek life, if you're not an AKA, you'll vote against the AKA.
When CNN is actually not that biased. Now, the reason I'm saying that is not for any other reason. The debate that Trump had against Joe Biden was actually way better than the ABC one. Less biased, no interrupting, one-on-one. But we know what happened here, and we know what ABC did. But the craziest part about this is that Jake Tapper is about to deliver the hammer and drop all of it on Kamala Harris and give her a brutal reality check. And also CNN gave fact check after fact check on Kamala and what she lied about. So we got to talk about that. Make sure to smash the like button. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. If you're watching this, good night. If you're watching this after you're going to bed, hope everybody is well. As always, let me know where you guys are watching from. So let's go to the big moment here where Jake Tapper drops down the hammer. Take a listen.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the #1 issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected.
He started off this by saying that she punted. This guy's had enough. This guy reminds me of Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. Someone who is ready to stop being Democrat shill. Someone who is ready to actually be a journalist. It's crazy. It's actually wild to see, but it's refreshing right before the election, by the way.
Today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done any?
She also dodged. That means that he thinks she dodged a lot. Like, he literally thinks she dodged. Isn't that crazy?
But more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question.
Now, what's so crazy is that's her campaign ad, and when she be saying that in her campaign ad, she showed Trump border wall when she's talking about prosecuting these international terrorists and traffickers and all that stuff. The border wall helps her. Trump's border wall.
The question, when asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas.
No, what is happening? He's doing the thing. He's doing the thing. Okay, guys, I'm having a moment here. I'm having a moment where I'm starting to like. Okay, I don't like him, but geez, this guy's so likable when he's not biased.
Organizations.
Anybody saying Kamala won debate, she didn't ask no questions, and then she lied the rest of the time, and then she campaign speech the rest of the time. She didn't answer no questions.
The trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, how?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Why is this a big deal, Lou? Why are you showing me this video? I'm showing you this video
The debate
because
people supposed to ask her. The debate people supposed to ask her how. How?
I think CNN is starting to flip. And I'm not saying that I'm going to watch them, but wow, what a change. What a change. Let's actually go here real quick because it brings me to what I really want to talk about. It's what CNN did after the debate. Take a look at this.
CNN just confirmed that Kamala Harris told over 7 straight up lies during the debate with Trump. The first thing Kamala tried to claim was that Trump would sign a full baby deletion ban if Trump was in office, which CNN...
Now, for CNN to backdoor, and that's what this is, for CNN to backdoor ABC like this, salute to my brother Garrick Marshall for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, brother. Salute. But for CNN to backdoor ABC like this is brutally humiliating. Why? They didn't fact check her one time. Not one time. They kept going at Trump. But they was supposed to actually fact check her at least 7 times. She got caught telling blatant lies, and they didn't do it. Why would her sorority sister stop her from lying?
and themselves confirmed that Trump has never said. Second thing Kamala tried to claim was that Trump left office with the worst unemployment rate since the Great Depression, which CNN confirmed was false. She actually left office with unemployment just at 6.4%. Then she tried to claim that today there's 0 U.S. active military in war zones across the world, which CNN said, actually, no, there's 2,500 troops currently in Iraq and a bunch more under fire in the Middle East. Oh, and it gets better because she said only small businesses would be able to use the 50,000.
That one is important. You know what's crazy about this, guys? I just want to get this out the way. And look, the coverage on this has been, oh my God, Kamala was so witty. She surprised me. You want to know why she surprised you? Democrat, liberal, even conservatives at this point? She surprised you because the bar was set so low that she came over prepared. And we saw it. We saw it with her lines, with her rehearsed lines. But haven't you guys noticed that that's the narrative? The narrative is like, whoa, I didn't know she could do that. Well, because the bar was set so low. That's why. But when you look at the reality and what CNN is fact-checking here, they're fact-checking here that the world is literally on fire. People's bank accounts are on fire. People are living paycheck to paycheck. Things are not good. Millions of undocumented folks have entered this country where we don't even know from where. Nobody's being vetted. That's the real issue that's going on here. But am I the only one that thinks that the bar was set so low that people are starting to just be impressed by nothing? That's how bad it is. And so many people are falling for it. Anyways, let's keep going.
Across the world, which CNN said, actually, no, there's 2,500 troops currently in Iraq and a bunch more under fire in the Middle East. Oh, and it gets better because she said only small businesses would be able to use the $50,000 tax deduction, but she failed to mention that any business that fails before they turn a profit won't qualify for this. The list goes on. She then tried to say that Trump lost manufacturing jobs during his presidency, but CNN said, no, actually, that was all because of COVID. It had nothing to do with his policies. Oh, and she tried to say that Trump...
Wow. Trump, he should have did the debate on CNN. I promise you. It would have been amazing. And isn't that crazy that I'm saying that? Yo, it's not crazy that I'm saying that. I'm literally saying that he should have did this debate. I wish this debate was actually on CNN. Even on Fox, of course. But CNN was so not that biased. They were literally fact-checking Trump on everything they could. And one of the moderator, I forgot her name, she was Kamala's sorority sister. Look at these fact checks.
Manufacturing jobs during his presidency, but CNN said, no, actually, that was all because of COVID. It had nothing to do with his policies. Oh, and she tried to say the Trump administration had the highest trade deficit in history, but then CNN said, no, actually, it was higher under Biden and Kamala. It was over $1 trillion. Last but not least, she tried to claim that the U.S. Supreme Court ruled Trump immune from any sort of misconduct, which CNN confirmed that's false. He can still be prosecuted for any unofficial acts.
Fact checking. from CNN. Could you guys believe it? Could you guys believe it? Even this one is amazing, right? Because she kept bringing up Project 2025. And this goes out to all the liberals who keep pushing the stupid lie. Even CNN has to correct you.
Listen to this claim from Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware about Project 2025 and former President Trump.
He has, with his friends, said the quiet parts out loud.
Boule liar.
But not only said them out loud, he wrote a book about it. What's it called? Project 2025.
Liar. Trying to
That
scare
is
black
false.
people.
Trump did not write Project 2025. The project's big policy document published by the Heritage Foundation think tank lists dozens of people as authors, editors, contributors. Donald Trump is not among them. Listen to this claim from Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware about Project 2025.
So there you have it. Just wanted to play that for you guys because a lot of Democrats still believe, and that's another lie that she was spreading on stage. Oh, Trump is Project 2025. Project 2025. Golly. All right. So you guys ready for this? Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for those watching this later. MSNBC says, and I want to play this video because I want to go from station to station to station, network from network. We have ABC being biased, but let's talk about MSNBC for a second. So apparently, Joy Reid, who she's been gaining some weight. I think she's been eating a lot, which is good. I eat a lot too. I don't know why I said that. All right. Trump supporters are just as despicable as he himself is. Here she is again offending Trump supporters. Take a listen.
Also to do things, Ellie, that one would think are career ending. The way he desecrated Arlington National Cemetery would be career ending for a normal politician. But his constant lies. But even this piece about saying, well, my building was the tallest until, they brought down the World Trade Center. Now it's the second tallest. I mean, everything he does is despicable.
The reason why it doesn't end his career is because his supporters are just as despicable. All right. Like Trump's whole thing, he's a narcissist.
Fuck you, man. With all due respect. F off. My man. Go hit the treadmill or something. Like, see what I mean? Like, when these media outlets and networks are supposed to be unbiased, they become the most biased. They start.
D.L. Hughley ain't got nothing on this dude. This dude get paid good money to come on here as a professor, disrespect Trump, and they bring him on as the black intellectual to say this is how black people feel. It's so disgusting. And that's when you know we can't be trusting these type of shoe shiners.
Do you know how many Trump supporters exist in this world? Do you know how many Trump supporters actually exist in this planet? Never miss it. There's so many different Trump supporters.
The man
in this
was down
world.
by no racism in real life. He disgusting.
To call them despicable,
fucking
just like
hustler.
him.
Professional.
It's crazy.
Scam.
This is what they do. This is who these people have become, where they just say stuff like this online and then wonder why somebody would take a shot at Trump. Anyways, I thought this clip was amazing. I was going to talk about it later. Maybe I still will, but I just think we deserve this. So we're going from topic to topic. I hope you guys don't mind me doing that. I hope you guys are enjoying this,
I see
this show right now.
Usher today on
because
I seen a clip.
We're going from woke to woke to woke to woke. And what does woke mean? Well, it's overly identity politics. It's the exaggeration of an obsession with not only identity but sex, gender, which all falls in the identity class. But we're going to the most obsessive one, which is pretty much The View. So The View, oh man, this is a good one, guys. Smash the like button if you guys can. So The View has Usher on the show. Usher, who is a pop star, has been around for a while now. You know, Taylor Swift decided to endorse President Trump, and they're trying to get this guy to endorse. I wish he did. She endorsed Kamala Harris, and they're trying to pressure this man into endorsing her or saying and telling everybody to endorse her. Take a listen to this.
How to talk this morning, huh?
Yeah, but Taylor Swift has now endorsed Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And she was I thought, very smart the way she did it. It was like, you do your research and you decide for yourselves, but I a single cat woman, as she points to, I am voting for Kamala. Do you think, I always say that in this emergency that we're in, I think that behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump, because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I didn't get a chance to watch the debate last night. I obviously have been watching like everybody else. I think voting is an individual choice. And I think that you're right.
What type of answer you think she's looking for right here? What type of answer is this?
She told you. She say it behooves.
What type of answer you think she
go
wants?
against Trump? She first say black artist, but she called herself.
Right. You have to.
He's not giving it to her, unfortunately for her.
Watch the debate.
And I hate that she sets up this question this way. If you're an artist, you have to. You have to tell people to vote. It's going to be the end. Joy, you can't even have an abortion. I think you've passed your time. Oh, my God, Lou. They're not supposed to say that.
Well, she said she's a single cat.
I apologize.
All the single cat lady. Yeah,
I kind of went too far there. Sorry, chat. That was too much. That was too much. I apologize. I was wrong.
I always say that in this emergency that we're in, I think that behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump, because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I didn't get a chance to watch the debate last night. I obviously have been watching like everybody else. I think voting is an individual choice. And I think that you're right. You have to look at the reality of the country that we are and the country that we want to be, and find the candidate that you feel both are who fits the category of where we want to be. And that's it. And that's what you vote based off of, who you highlight and how you choose to highlight it on whatever platform you have is your prerogative.
Yes. Yeah. I really, you know, every.
They say
that
get us some free promotion. They crazy,
which makes me extremely happy. But this should be common sense to everybody. You see, the way the Democrats want to win this election, it feels like they want to make people panic. They want to make people hit the red button of their lives. But people should be hitting the red button, and they should be realizing, not because they should vote out of hatred for a candidate. They should vote because they should be able to relate to a candidate. Okay, why should you be able to relate to a candidate? Well, because we're all going through everything at the same time. The economy, wars overseas, immigration. We're going through these things.
Absolutely.
But they don't want you to vote because, or they don't want you to hit the red button because of what you're going through in life. They want you to hit the red button because Orange Man is bad. Orange Man is rude. Donald Trump is a rude guy. Have to vote against this guy. This guy's not good. So they hit the red button, but not because you're going through these things. No, forget about that. It's because Orange Man is bad. And I love this. I love this answer because this is not the answer that they're looking for on their show. They're looking for him to go, oh, yeah, he's dangerous, man. This guy's dangerous. You have to vote. You have to vote against him. He's going to end the world. That's not what they got. All right, guys. So as we're closing out the show, hope you guys are enjoying it. Make sure to smash the like button if you guys can.
Was caught red-handed. AOC was caught red-handed, purposely lying about the Green Party. AOC claimed that Dr. Jill Stein was predatory because she does nothing but show up every 4 years to run for president.
All you do is show up once every 4 years to speak to people who are justifiably pissed off, but you're just showing up once every 4 years to do that. You're not serious. You're not to me, it does not read as authentic. It reads as predatory.
So it was also clear that AOC didn't know that Howie Hawkins ran in 2020 and not Jill Stein. AOC's core criticism of the Green Party is that they don't run local candidates. They only focus on running for president every 4 years. It's very weird that AOC would say that, because this is a picture from 2017 showing AOC volunteering her time to help a local Green Party candidate. The Green Party has also won over 1,500 elections on the local level. So why is AOC purposely smearing and lying to her supporters about Dr. Jill Stein and the Green Party? AOC is literally taking the same trajectory as Kirsten Sinema. AOC's job is to be the attack dog for the uniparty war machine. The fake progressives in the Democratic Party was hoping that Dr. Jill Stein failed to defeat the Democrats in their authoritarian attempts to sue her off the ballot. Now that Dr. Jill Stein defeated most of Democratic Party legal challenges, the eternal polls are coming in and Democrats are panicking. Recent polls show that Jill Stein is defeating Kamala Harris in 3 key battleground states with the Muslim vote. Kamala Harris is also free-falling in the polls as voters learn that she has a foreign policy of Dick Cheney. Third parties are stronger right now than they've been my entire life. It's crucial that we give the people a chance to vote for an anti-genocide option.
This is what they not talking about. See that election?
Video shows Russian Northern Fleet drills in the Arctic Circle, kicking off new exercises on Tuesday as joint naval exercises with China, as part of strategic command and staff exercises dubbed Ocean 2024, that began on Tuesday and run until September 16. The Russian Defense Ministry released footage showing the ships moving through the Arctic, having arrived in the eastern Arctic Ocean to protect the military security of Russian coastal facilities in the region. The drills will study possible threat areas in a region that most of the countries surrounding the Arctic are members of NATO, which is unfriendly and continues to deploy weapons in the region. The drills, which include the Rear Admiral Kulikov destroyer and the Alexander Otrakovsky, a large landing ship, are part of a series of joint Russian-Chinese exercises. They involve more than 400 warships, submarines and support vessels across the Arctic and Pacific Oceans, as well as in the Mediterranean, Caspian, and Baltic Seas. More than 90,000 personnel and 120 aircraft are participating. Troops with the Russian Pacific Fleet will practice defending sea communications near Russian Eastern Primorsky region bordering China, the Defense Ministry added. 4 Chinese warships and 1 supply ship are taking part.
Есть пуск! Значит, пусковой цикл!
The tasks that the Russian Northern Fleet will perform during the drills include ensuring the security of coastal infrastructure facilities in the Russian Arctic region, investigating potential areas of military operations, and carrying out joint special operations aimed at eliminating terrorists during the military exercises, the Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement. NATO, despite taking a heavy hit in its proxy war in Ukraine, is busy reopening a number of facilities and military presence in the region, which poses an acute threat primarily to Russia.
Well, we are facing a massive escalation towards thermonuclear war with Russia, and Putin has just responded to a damning new plan by the White House to launch long-range weapons inside of Russia, teaming up with the United Kingdom to pull all of this off. So we'll get to Putin's response here in a minute. I just can't believe we didn't have a deeper discussion about nuclear war during the debate the other night, because here we are on the precipice of nuclear war. Here, according to Politico, with this exclusive report, White House finalizing plans to expand where Ukraine can hit inside of Russia. The talks have been closely held among a small group of officials inside the White House. And over the past 24 hours, we've had the deep state puppets running the White House have finalized plans to expand the war against Russia. We've been reporting, of course, that according to our sources here at Redacted, that what Politico is now confirming, which we've already been saying here on this show, so they've actually confirmed this. David Sachs, tweeting this just a few minutes ago, says the White House is ready to greenlight the use of American missiles to strike targets deep inside of Russia. The Russians have made many ways to retaliate. We are taking why are we taking this risk? Ukraine is neither a treaty ally nor vital interest. Biden himself once warned this could cause World War III. Yes, that's exactly right. An attack against Russia in this way would launch World War III. Here was President Biden in 2022 saying,
the idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews. Just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say. That's called World War III. Okay? Let's get
it right.
And
It's going
in
to be
fact,
World War
when
III.
President Trump said that, they treated him like he was crazy. Like, calm down, sir. Calm down.
Yeah, Trump during the debate was the only one. He's like, we're talking about nuclear weapons. We're talking about nuclear war. And he was saying it almost like into a vacuum,
And it
because
was
certainly
not
ABC was not
enough
interested
to
in listening to
escalate the conversation
Absolutely.
at all. No, they were worried about fact checking him about violent crime, which they were wrong about. So they're absolutely unfocused on anything that matters.
So just so you understand, here are the details. Let's go through this Politico piece, which is stunning. We're talking about war with a nuclear country. White House finalizing plans to expand where Ukraine can hit inside of Russia. The talks have been closely held among a small group of officials inside the White House. White House finalizing these plans to ease restrictions on how Ukraine can use U.S. donated weapons and better protect itself from Russian missiles, according to a Western official and two other people familiar with the discussions. The details of the plan are still coming together, but officials in Washington, London, and Kiev have in recent days discussed expanding the area inside of Russia that Ukraine can hit with American and British-made weapons. They also discussed how to prevent additional cross-border attacks by Russia, including U.S. agreeing to allow Ukraine to use UK long-range missiles that contain American parts. So these current conversations are ongoing and significant, and it's a significant change to our current foreign policy. Now, Jake Sullivan is highlighted here. Back a number of months ago, of course, was on the record with Jake Tapper, lying to Jake Tapper, saying that we're not going to escalate sending F-16s. And then a few months later, he got on the record with Jake Tapper, and Jake Tapper was pissed. And Jake's like, you basically lied to me. You told me in February that you were not going to send F-16s, that this would be a dramatic escalation along the ladder to war, and you said you wouldn't do it, and now you're doing it. So you're basically lied to me. What changed? Oh, well, we've always been sort of examining the dynamics of the war and kind of looking at things. And
what do you call this? Mission creep. There's a word for it. It's happening. Mission creep.
It's disgusting, and it's deeply troubling. And is there a bigger story in the world right now? I mean, just so you understand the details here, we're talking about war with a nuclear country. And I guess the United States is okay with that because Europe would be wiped off the face of the map first. And, you know, America loves that idea, right? Just like they did with the Nord Stream pipeline bombing. They destroyed the Nord Stream pipeline, send Germany back into the dark ages, economies in ruin, businesses closing, drives up the American dollar, drives down the euro. The United States sends barrels and barrels of natural gas because, well, the Nord Stream pipeline's blown up, so now you need to buy it from us, right? Europe will be wiped off the face of the planet first, and make no mistake about it. Just so you understand the details here, the plans of which are already being rolled out. This is like, we're hearing about it now. This is already in motion, guys.
Well,
this is
in
a
fact,
massive escalation towards nuclear war.
In the newsletter today, we linked you to a call for a study from the Department of Defense asking for contractors to study the effects of fallout on agriculture in Europe from nuclear war. So we know Europeans, you won't be eating unless you like radioactive eggs. We don't give a shit. We're just going to study it and see how it then affects our food supply, if it, in fact, will reach the capital of Panem.
We're going to get more of a deep dive on this nuclear angle in just a second here. So Vladimir Putin was just asked about this escalation from NATO, the United States, and the UK. And the reporter asked him very directly about this escalation. What does this mean for Ukraine now to have these weapons to launch inside of Russia? And Putin, you know, he explained, he said, look, you have to understand, first of all, Ukraine can't do any of this by themselves. They don't have satellites. They don't have these weapons. All of it is being orchestrated by NATO. And there will be consequences. Watch.
Но когда речь идет об использовании высокоточного оружия большой дальности западного производства, это совершенно другая история. Дело в том, что я уже об этом говорил, и любые эксперты это подтвердят, и у нас, и на Западе, наносить удары современными высокоточными системами большой дальности западного производства украинская армия не в состоянии. Она не может этого делать. Это возможно только с использованием разведданных со спутников, которыми Украина не располагает. Это данные только со спутников или Евросоюза, либо на Соединенных Штатах, в общем, с натовских спутников. Это первое. Второе, и очень важное, может быть, ключевое, заключается в том, что
This is the most important part. Pay attention.
в эти ракетные системы могут, по сути, вносить только военнослужащие стран НАТО. Украинские военнослужащие делать это не могут. И поэтому речь идет не о том, чтобы разрешать украинскому режиму наносить удары по России этим оружием или не разрешать. Речь идет о том, чтобы принять решение о том, что страны НАТО напрямую участвуют в военном конфликте или нет. Если это решение будет принято, это будет означать не что иное, как прямое участие стран НАТО, Соединенных Штатов, европейских стран в войне на Украине. Это их прямое участие. И это уже, конечно, существенным образом меняет саму суть, саму природу конфликта. Это будет означать, что страны НАТО, США, европейские страны воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта, мы будем принимать соответствующие решения, исходя из тех угроз, которые нам будут создаваться.
Well, shit.
So, guys, we are, I mean, just so you understand, this sort of ratcheting has been up a ladder. And just so you understand the threat escalation here, I've heard a lot of people talking about the RAND Corporation's threat escalation ladder lately. If you haven't read this document, it's well worth reading. The RAND Corporation, this is from 1984, the concepts and models of escalation. And again, it's really fascinating to go through this. I encourage you all to read it, and you can find it easily online. However, However, this is exactly, I'll sum it up for you here. We put together this handy little graphic so you understand exactly where we are in the threat escalation ladder scenario right now. So we are sitting right now at, well, you start at the top here, diplomatic
so you
pressure.
descend into hell.
You descend into hell.
It's not
basically.
A ladder you're climbing. It's a ladder you're descending.
Exactly. You're going down
oblivion.
into hell.
Okay.
So if you start at the top, right, diplomatic pressure. Okay, you've got diplomatic pressure, then you've got economic sanctions, you've got covert operations, right? So economic sanctions, of course, hit, you know, we that's actually destroyed the United States and Europe. All of the economic sanctions against Russia, they didn't work. Covert operations, we've highlighted here on the show, the special military operations, the special operations forces in Ukraine carrying out operations against Russia, American soldiers being killed, French soldiers being killed, Polish soldiers being killed in covert operations against Russia, attacks inside of Russia, that's already happened. Then you have limited military action. That ship has already sailed. More than limited military action, active involvement from NATO. Then you have a regional conflict. Okay, regional conflict into full-scale war, followed by nuclear war. At each level, we are hitting each of these markers now. And by the way, each of these markers, President Biden, the Biden administration told us we would not hit, that we would end with economic sanctions. No, American soldiers are not going to be involved in any kind of covert actions. That's a lie. Then limited military action. Oh, F-16s, NATO forces, American forces on the ground, directing these traffic, launching these missiles, these HIMARS missiles and others. Regional conflict. How much higher do we need to go? I mean, it's all unfolding right before our eyes. Where is this going to end? And certainly they do not want President Trump to be president of the United States. He was the only one during the debate that said, stop this, put an end to this. Yeah. I have said repeatedly, regardless of where you come down on it, whether you're a Trump fan or not, they will not allow him to become president of the United States. And this is why they will not allow him to become president of the United States. They want this to continue, and they want direct conflict with Russia, a hot war with Russia. And they're about to get it. And Kamala Harris, when she's elected, because you know the deep state wants that, this is going to escalate into a full-scale war and then potentially a nuclear war. And Europe will be wiped off the map first.
I mean, think about where your head goes around this. Like, am I safe where I live? But even if I am, do I want my government killing people with nuclear war? Can I live with that? You think about the food supply, you think about everything that we are feeding into now and being distracted by it with culture wars when we really have very few options to vote for peace because it's being taken from us. We're going to talk more about this sort of fictional dystopia that we find ourselves in that is reality, and how the rhetoric around war is just being hidden from us. But we've been warned about it. So we're going to talk about that more in the show. Well, but thank you for that graphic, Clayton. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's evident with, all the endorsements coming out for Harris, what they're wanting to do, with Cheney and Bolton and all those people. So it's clear that they know that Trump is not going to do their bidding and they want war. So now they're all on the side of Harris.
I saw this liberal person on X saying, hey, look, we've got Dick Cheney and we've got Mike Pompeo, and sort of like, look, look what this says for us. And I'm like, girl, do you know those people? But that's not the flex you think it is.
Did you happen to see Jon Stewart's reaction to that? Jon Stewart did that, where he was talking about Tulsi Gabbard supporting Trump. And he's like, okay. And then he said, but hey, we've got, and then he's like, Dick Cheney. And it just cuts to him, and he's just got this total WTF look on his face, and it's like
Right.
Well, Ted, you recall 10 years ago, of course, liberals were, called him a war criminal. They called him Darth Vader, right? I mean, he was the embodiment of evil. And I still think to this day, he is the embodiment of evil. I mean, I think he's a criminal. I mean,
they
he's
embraced a movie by Christian Bale. They would not be able to do that now.
Right.
This was a film
Hollywood
that
film.
showed about how we contracted the Iraq War for greed and gain, and based on a lie. And now that person is a marquee endorsement of your candidate. Maybe you want to think about the war rhetoric that's being sold here.
Johnny Freedom in our Rumble chat says liberals have 2 week long memories, like a goldfish, I guess. Yeah.
to give us more perspective in terms of what is happening at this moment in the Russia-Ukraine war, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's joining us on this broadcast. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Viewer. And let me, in fact, start off by asking you about the latest bit of information that has come in about reports of drone attacks that have taken place in Murmansk, in the Arctic part of Russia. Now, this is said to be a territory that is almost 1,500 kilometers away from Ukraine, and Ukrainian drones, at least 3 of them, are said to have targeted unspecified targets at this moment within this Russian territory. What do you make of these long-range drone attacks by Ukraine? What do they accomplish in this war?
Well, I mean, we just saw the largest Ukrainian wave of drones into Russia in the war just a few days ago, with 147 or 144, depending on who you ask, drones that went into Russia. But nearly all of them were shot down. Only a handful actually hit anything. And really, there was no militarily significant targets even attacked, as you saw that big famous picture of the high-rise apartment building in Moscow being hit with one of the drones, actually a couple of them. So in terms of military efficiency, it does absolutely nothing. I understand from some of the claims of the Western and Ukraine side that they want to, quote, bring the war to the Russians and make them realize this is real. But I'm not sure what that's supposed to accomplish on the ground in the war, because so far the only reaction has been that it makes Russia madder and makes the people more willing to support war, and actually pushing Putin further to take harsher action against the Ukraine. So from a military perspective, I'm not sure what they're intending to accomplish, but it doesn't seem to be working.
And also considering, the fact that the United States of America has been very circumspect in terms of how it's been allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles. Now, this is a policy that's in fact been described as, containing escalation. Do you think that is working on the part of the United States, which has been mulling on letting Ukraine use long-range missiles to strike targets inside Russia?
They gonna regret.
Well, anytime you use some kind of, especially a new weapon that hasn't been used before, or using it in a new way that it hasn't been used, i.e. to strike strategic depth targets inside of Russia, you've got to ask yourself 2 big important questions. On the first side, what is this going to accomplish for the Ukraine side? Will this have some impact on the front line? Will this prevent Russia from maintaining its war support? And then number 2 is, what is the risk of escalation? What is the risk that Russia responds in some way that's antithetical to your interest, more powerful than they have? And on both of those counts, it's bad for the Ukraine and bad for the American side, because first of all, militarily, it's not going to make any difference. There's not enough weapons that we're talking about that even are available to give to the Ukraine side that's going to have a big impact, even if they get through. And of course, Russia has good air defense systems scattered throughout their country, and the majority of those missiles are going to be able to knock down. So if you don't have very many, and you have a country as vast as Russia, you just don't have enough to service those targets to make a difference at the front line. But you strike deep into Russia, there are some increasingly ominous warnings, not just from Putin, but from some of the other members of their Duma and some of the other officials. Peskov was another one of them, that are saying, hey, this is a real red line. And you start striking strategic depth in our country, we're going to respond. And I think that we're just playing with fire if we think that they're just bluffing and then do it something anyway. And it doesn't make sense to take a risk of expanding the war on something that's not even going to have a positive impact on the tactical fight.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us and getting us those insights there. For all the latest news, download the
Only 11 p.m. So much.
All right. God love you. I want to talk to you about your time in Vladivostok at the Economic Forum, and I want to talk to you about the column you wrote about it, Russia, China, and Global Cooperation. In order to ease into that, I want to begin by asking you about some of the more recent developments covered and uncovered in the media in Russia. This is totally off the front pages now. In fact, it's totally off all of the media in the US as far as I can tell. What is the status of the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk? Are they still being reinforced with other Ukrainian troops? Are they getting food, supplies, ammunition, and fuel? What is happening there?
Well, that was one of the subjects of the dinner. The dinner just came before talking to you, Judge. And one of my very good intel sources, basically, he told me that there are less than 10,000 remaining Ukrainian troops, and essentially they are encircled. There's only one way for them to go back. And if they go back, the Russians are going to pounce. And the Russians will keep on advancing on this Ukrainian retreat. So the whole game ball it's essentially over. And that adds to the desperation of the NATO stun axis, let's put it this way, which now they are fabricating another reason to go
Finally, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation broke its silence on the beginning of the counteroffensive of Russian troops in the Kursk region, and gave the first official comments on the events in this Russian region. So, a few minutes ago, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially announced that within 48 hours, the soldiers of the group of troops under the designation Sever had completely liberated 10 settlements in the Kursk region. Thus, the Russian military department officially recognized that the Russian army had launched a full-scale offensive in the Kursk region. According to official data, within 2 days Russian troops liberated such settlements as 10 October, Snagist, Olbakovka, Krasno-Oktyabrskoye, Gordievka, Nezhepnoye, Viktorovka, Vishnevka, Byakovo, and Apanasovka. At the same time, according to war correspondents, the number of liberated settlements by Russian troops is much higher. War correspondents claim that the Russian Defense Ministry will announce the liberation of these settlements in the coming days, after the completion of the cleanup. Moreover, war correspondents estimated that over the past 48 hours, the Ukrainian army has lost 150 square kilometers of controlled territory in the Kursk region. At the same time, it is worth recognizing that these figures are changing rapidly. It is reported that almost every hour, the Ukrainian army units lose controlled territories and continue to retreat from their positions. Moreover, it became known that the Russian troops also managed to close the cauldron in the Vishnevka-Krasno-Oktyabrskoye area. It is reported that quite large Ukrainian forces remained in this cauldron. It is reported that they did not manage to escape. Against this backdrop, in order to rescue Ukrainian forces that found themselves in a cauldron, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Sersky, attempted to attack Russian troops from the rear. So, on September 11th, at 5 a.m. Moscow time, a battalion of the 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, supported by dozens of heavy equipment, including 3 German Leopard tanks, invaded the border settlements of Medveziet and Novyi Put. However, it seems that the Russian generals knew that against the backdrop of the successful offensive of Russian troops in the Kursk region, the enemy would attempt to attack the Russian army units from the rear. So, unfortunately for the Ukrainian High Military Command, the battalion of the 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine was completely stopped by Russian troops in the settlements of Novyi Put and Medvezhai. It is reported that having lost 60 soldiers and 20 pieces of heavy equipment, including 2 German Leopard tanks, the battalion of the 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine was forced to retreat with heavy losses. Commenting on the unsuccessful attempt of the 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine to break through the Russian border in a new section, Russian Telegram channels noted that this brigade is considered one of the most elite in the Ukrainian army. According to them, this is a real NATO brigade, armed not only with German Leopard tanks, but also with the most modern Western weapons. In addition, active duty soldiers and officers of NATO armies are also fighting in this brigade. The 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine also contains high-ranking NATO officers, who are directly involved in the organization and management of military operations of this brigade. Thus, it can be stated with confidence that it was NATO that tried to help the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the Kursk region, with its attempt to break through the Russian border in a new area. Against this backdrop, it is worth noting that Western analytical centers ignored the unsuccessful attempt of the 154th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine to break through the Russian border in a new area. However, military experts from Western analytical centers admitted that the counteroffensive of Russian troops in the Kursk region is only the beginning of big problems for the armed forces of Ukraine. According to them, the Russian army has not yet used all its might in the Kursk region. Western experts claim that everything that is now happening in the Kursk region is just an attempt by the Russian army to probe the capabilities of the armed forces of Ukraine. And the fact that the Ukrainian army managed to lose dozens of settlements in the Kursk region within 48 hours, once again convinced the Russian High Military Command that the armed forces of Ukraine were weak, even despite unprecedented support from the North Atlantic Alliance. Military experts from Western analytical centers are confident that the Russian army intends to divide in half the territory controlled by the Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region, and only after that Russian army will begin the systematic destruction of Ukrainian forces. Meanwhile, an insider at the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said that Russian troops are preparing to strike at the positions of the Ukrainian army units in Lyubimovka. According to him, General Gerasimov is preparing a large cauldron for the Ukrainian army in the Kursk region, hitting the positions of the Ukrainian troops in Lyubimovka from 3 directions at once, from Olgovka, Snagist, and Obukovka. Against this backdrop, even the pro-government Ukrainian Telegram channels began to admit that the military operation of the armed forces of Ukraine in the Kursk region had suffered a crushing fiasco. According to them, Russian troops are destroying the positions of the Ukrainian army in the Kursk region almost non-stop, creating so-called mini cauldrons for Ukrainian troops, as a result of which Ukrainian soldiers are forced to surrender en masse. According to preliminary data, over the past 2 days, Russian troops have captured more than 200 Ukrainian soldiers and so-called foreign mercenaries from NATO countries. And this figure continues to grow rapidly almost every day. Meanwhile, official Kiev until recently tried not to comment on the successful counteroffensive of the Russian army in the Kursk region. However, today, Western journalists still forced the head of the Kiev regime to comment on the events in the Kursk region. So, speaking to journalists, Vladimir Zelensky still admitted that the Russian army went on the offensive in the Kursk region. However, this comic actor added that everything that is happening now is allegedly part of Ukraine's plan. Independent military experts have already reacted to Zelensky's words. According to them, Vladimir Zelensky is in a very bad situation. His army is suffering a major defeat both in Kursk and the Donbass. There is fear in his eyes, and he really doesn't know what he is saying. Against this backdrop, experts expressed confidence that by the end of this year, Vladimir Zelensky will be forced to flee to the United States, along with his ministers and even generals.
Pleasure, my dear friend. Thank you for accommodating my schedule. I do want to talk to you at some length on the rumors we are all hearing that as we speak, U.S. Secretary of State Tony Blinken and his British counterpart are informing former, because he's no longer President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, the conditions under which Prime Minister Keir Starmer and President Joe Biden will allow the Ukraine military to use long-range missiles into Russia. But before we get there, because I think we're going to go there into some depth, I want to talk to you about the latest with respect to Israel and Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu has announced that he has instructed the IDF to be ready to invade Hezbollah. What does this tell you, either about his thinking or about whatever the Americans have agreed to do?
Well, again, I believe that the Americans, the Biden administration, has not altered course. The head of the of U.S. Central Command was in Israel, having high-level discussions with the Israeli military. And I believe that the message he was sending was that the United States will stand by Israel and defend Israel, but that the United States will not participate in Israeli aggression against either Iran or Hezbollah, unprovoked Israeli aggression. And when I mean unprovoked, I'm not talking about, for instance, with Hezbollah, continuation of this the war of attrition that's taking place. That is new normal. What I'm talking about is Israel launching a massive attack against Hezbollah, ground and air attack. The United States will not participate in that. That Israel will bear the consequences of that action alone. I think that's the message the United States has sent, and I continue to believe that's the message. Netanyahu continues to push back, and this is, like you said, the third time he's threatened to send the Israeli military into Lebanon. Each time he backs down for a number of reasons. One, his military can't do it, and they remind him of this fact every single time. That once you initiate a massive, large-scale attack against Hezbollah, there will be consequences, and the consequences will be Hezbollah unleashing the totality of its military capability against Israel, capabilities Israel has no response to, no ability to deter or to defeat. That the war will be brought into Israel, not just Israel trying to bring the war into southern Lebanon, but the war will enter Israel. Hezbollah will enter Israel. Israel, bogged down in Gaza, bogged down in the West Bank, lacks the military forces to adequately respond to this. It could lead to the strategic defeat of Israel. This is the reality. Their military has told him this over and over and over again, but Netanyahu has to appease his conservative coalition. He can't acknowledge that Israel is powerless in the face of Hezbollah, so he continues to threaten this conflict to make his coalition happy, and to keep up the impression that he is a man willing to use military power. And he's shown this. He goes into Gaza repeatedly. He continues to commit acts of genocide against Gaza, slaughtering Palestinian children and innocent civilians in the name of hunting down terrorists. He went into Jenin in the West Bank, again killing random civilians. So it's not as though he's a pacifist being compelled into violence. This is a man who has chosen violence, but he chose wrong. Hamas is not defeated. Hezbollah will not be cowed, and there's always Iran looming in the background.
Is there any country or group of countries that will use force to stop the slaughter in Gaza? The slaughter is unmitigated and it continues. Is there any country that will enter?
So far, the answer is no. The Palestinians are tragically a commodity that's being expended in
nuclear weapons
in support of the cause of a Palestinian state. Again, I just want to remind people that on October 6th, nobody was talking realistically about a Palestinian state. The United States had given up on this. Israel believed it was never going to happen. Saudi Arabia was ready to do business with Israel. Nobody was promoting this. Because of October 7th, today, the world is talking about a Palestinian state. This is the reality. And the only reason why the world is talking about it is because of Israel's actions in Gaza, Israel slaughtering the Palestinian civilians. So tragically, the Palestinian civilians have become a commodity that is expended to keep the cause of Palestinian statehood front and center. So even those people who are inclined to be sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, Hezbollah, Iran, Syria, and others, they understand that there's a bigger objective, that is Palestinian statehood and the strategic defeat of Israel. And so they're not going to get in the way of Israel continuing to bring harm to Israel by pursuing its objectives in Gaza. For the Arab states, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and others, they never were willing to die for the Palestinian cause, and they're not willing to die for the Palestinian cause now. Saudi Arabia has had, people who are, very well positioned socially, economically, politically, been speaking for the last several weeks about how bad the Palestinian people are, why this isn't their cause, that, they're sympathetic for Israel, although they won't say that outright. So the Palestinians have been betrayed by much of the Arab world, and the Arab world isn't going to rally around the Palestinian cause. Those who support Palestine understand that in order to keep Palestine on the front burner internationally, you're going to have to continue to let Israel be Israel in Gaza, which means more Palestinians or civilians are going to die.
Turkish President Erdogan from time to time roars, and then nothing happens. I mean, he could stop this with a phone call, couldn't he, if he stopped all the oil going to Israel?
The problem is then there'd be phone calls made to him. Turkey's in a very difficult position. They're straddling, the West and the East. Turkey wants to be, in fact, as Erdogan apparently has agreed to go to Kazan in October to attend the BRICS conference, which appears to be a stepping stone to Turkey being invited into BRICS. The last thing Turkey needs to do is get caught up in a geopolitical controversy that hampers this strategic posturing on its part. So he will make the right statements. President Sisi of Egypt, one of the ultimate betrayers of the Palestinians, just traveled to Ankara. Erdogan had gone there earlier this year, I think in January or February, and they're normalizing relations. They spend a lot of time talking about Palestine, about a united front against Israel, but it's just talk. Turkey's not going to do anything that is, demonstrably harmful to Israel.
Switching to Ukraine, I would like to play two clips for you. This is in my view, bizarre and historically unprecedented public meeting of the head of MI6, Sir Peter Moore, and the head of the CIA, William Burns, in public together, sponsored by the Financial Times, answering questions. But these comments that they will make, forgive me, Scott, I love you, will raise your blood pressure. Chris, cut 9 and then immediately cut 10.
Typically audacious and bold on the part of the Ukrainians to try and change the game in a way. And I think they have, to a degree, changed the narrative around this.
The Kursk offensive is a significant tactical achievement. It's not only been a boost in Ukrainian morale, it has exposed some of the vulnerabilities of Putin's Russia and of his military.
And it's important to remember how this started. It started in this phase with Putin mounting a war of aggression in February 2022. And 2.5 years later, that failed. It continues to fail. The Ukrainians will continue to fight. We will continue to help them to fight. And it's difficult.
They can't believe a word they've said, can they?
No. First of all, understand that the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk was probably planned with significant British help, led by the MI6. The CIA's special mission personnel, special mission center, special activity center, was involved in the planning and implementation of an earlier Ukrainian incursion into Belgorod region this past spring. So these William Burns and Mr. Moore are both people who have been promoting violence against Russia for some time now. They're sitting there now talking as if this is a Ukrainian initiative. It's not. It's a CIA initiative, an MI6 initiative. So they're talking about their own operation. They're talking about the spin that they want to put on it. This has nothing to do with Ukraine. Ukraine is purely a tool, a proxy. The other thing I need to point out is both the CIA and MI6 are, possess some of the largest, black propaganda capabilities in the world. I've worked with both of them. I've worked with the CIA to make a documentary film designed to deceive the American people about the reality of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and Iraq's role in deceiving the inspectors. And I worked with the British as they sought to insert demonstrably false stories into international media to deceive the public. This is what they do. They don't tell the truth. They're liars, and they're lying now. What we're seeing taking place in Kursk is a disinformation operation run by the CIA, run by MI6, that's costing Ukraine tens of thousands of lives. But they don't care. Their hands are drenched in the blood of Ukrainians, and they'll just continue to tell these lies. This is the tragedy of it all. This is an intelligence operation gone bad.
Was the attack, the Russian attack on the Ukrainian military academy that killed over 720 people, a response to the incursion into Kursk?
I don't think so. I think that this is a target that the Russians have been following for some time now. It's a target that has strategic importance, a target that, if the stories are true, involves not only the electronic warfare and communication specialists needed to bring two Swedish early warning aircraft, airborne warning aircraft, into operational status, but also this was a new class of UAV operators, the unmanned aerial vehicles, the drones. who were being taught the latest techniques on how to employ drones in combat. These people are going to graduate and go out and populate frontline drone units. Russia has been following this, and they waited until I think it was graduation day or close to it, and they hit them all at the same time. The casualties are unknown. I don't know if I think there were 700 people there. I don't know if all 700 died. That would be honest, would be a tragedy from a humanity standpoint. But significant casualties were inflicted, and if the reporting out of Sweden could be true, that could include some very senior Swedish military and civilian persons involved in the training of the Ukrainian officials. But this was a devastating blow against Ukraine. But it's a legitimate military target that I believe would have been struck regardless. It had to be struck because you can't allow those resources to be released into the wild, because that could have, it wouldn't be a game changer, but it would result in dead Russians. So kill the Ukrainians now so you don't have to hunt them down and kill them later.
You mentioned drones. Over the weekend, the Ukrainians unleashed 140 drones at Moscow. Reports seem to be consistent that 139 were intercepted. One hit a residential facility, which killed a woman, an innocent female civilian in a suburb of Moscow. How significant is that?
Propaganda exercise. I mean, it's tragic for the woman who died. It's tragic for the people who were caught up in this, but it's a big nothing burger. It doesn't change the strategic reality of anything. I mean, people in the United States and Europe need to understand that just because it appears on X or it's on your Telegram channel and you have various, pro-Ukrainian accounts repeating it over and over again, doesn't make it of strategic significance. It didn't change anything. Right now, as we speak, in the aftermath of this attack, the Russians are on the counteroffensive in Kursk, slaughtering the Ukrainians, mowing them down. The Russians continue to attack in the Donbass, advancing, putting the Ukrainians at a strategic risk. The drone attacks didn't alter the fact that Ukraine has run out of men, run out of equipment, and is running out of time.
Earlier today, the Speaker of the Russian Duma, Vyacheslav Volodin, forgive me for looking down, I want to quote him exactly, said, quote, "Washington and other European states are becoming parties to the war in Ukraine." Now paraphrasing, the United States, Germany, France, and Britain are becoming parties to the conflict. Do you think he was talking about the rumors that you and I have heard that as we speak now, literally as we speak, Secretary of State Blinken and his British counterpart are in Kyiv meeting with Zelensky, giving him whatever the latest guidelines are and his ability to use Russian and British long-range missiles to reach deep inside of Moscow?
I believe that he is talking about that, but the Russians have made similar charges that basically Ukraine has become nothing more than a Ukrainian proxy. Ukraine has become nothing more than a NATO proxy. But here we're now seeing that Blinken is crossing his own red line. I mean, the United States has repeatedly said to launch these against Russia is to invite a precipitous expansion of the conflict. But the United States understands that Ukraine is in a free fall right now. It is collapsing as they speak. And this is a political season. And so you can't have Kamala Harris running around talking about how strong she's going to be about Ukraine while Ukraine is wiped off the planet by the Russians. So the United States has to make sure that it says we gave the Ukrainians everything they asked for and everything they needed to defend themselves. And what Ukraine has been saying for some time now is they have to have the ability to reach out and touch the bases from which Russia is operating from on Russian territory against Ukrainian forces in Ukraine. They want to hit airfields, they want to hit command and control centers, logistics centers, and we have provided them with the weaponry that has that capability. It appears that we are going to give them the green light to do that.
Would that not constitute the United States and Great Britain invading Russia? And would that not invite a significant military response against the United States and against Great Britain?
I mean, the answer is yes to both of those. Of course, it's if you become a party to the conflict and then that conflict takes the fight into Russia, you're part of that. So you are liable to be held accountable. And would it not legitimize a Russian response? The answer is yes. But again, I just want to remind people that Russia's playing a big picture strategic game. Nothing that happens in terms of the unleashing of these new weapons against Russian targets is going to change the outcome on the battlefield. That's the reality. Will it make Russia's job a little bit more difficult? Yes. Will it be politically embarrassing to Putin and his government? Yes. But Putin's focused on right now Kazan. That's the city in Tatarstan that's going to host the BRICS summit near the end of October. This is where the strategic defeat of the United States, Great Britain, Europe, NATO takes place. The expansion of BRICS to include the possibility of Turkey. We know Azerbaijan wants to be a member. Malaysia, Venezuela is joining already. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, the United Arab Emirates. We are looking at the world redefining itself in a way that signals the defeat of the rules-based international order. And that, of course, is that which the Biden administration has been saying defines America's role in the world, that the preeminent task of the Biden administration is to defend and preserve the rules-based international order. It's ready to get down and be defeated in October if this summit goes forward. One way to help the summit not go forward is for Russia to overreact to the provocations that are taking place, for Russia to do something that fundamentally changes the geopolitical reality in terms of the world's impression of Russia. Right now, Russia is seen as a responsible nation by the bulk of the world. But if Russia overreacts, takes the fight to NATO, as it would be justified to do so, and expands the conflict, many people around the world, up to and including China and India, may take a step back and say, whoa, wait a minute. Russia doesn't need that. They've worked too long and too hard to make Kazan a success, and it's going to be a success. And Vladimir Putin's going to make sure it's a success. So I think that's another reason why Blinken is in Kiev, because he, I think, has been advised by people that should know that Putin probably won't overreact to this escalation. And so for political purposes, let's get it done so that we can say during an election period, we did everything we could to help Ukraine defend itself.
Talk to us a little bit about intel. Does Russian intel know exactly what Secretary Blinken is telling President Zelensky as they speak in Kyiv?
Well, I don't know if it's real time. I would imagine that the Russians have spent a considerable amount of resources to get inside Bankova, the Ukrainian presidential administration. In the past, they appear to have sources that are very well placed. And I think that they, have been briefed very well on what Ukraine expects to hear. I'm sure whatever papers have been presented for the Ukrainian president have made their way to Russian leadership. And then I'm sure that there will be summaries produced after the meeting that will make their way as well. I think the Russians have the Ukrainian presidency thoroughly penetrated. I think they have the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense thoroughly penetrated. That's just the reality. Russia has a very good intelligence service. Ukraine is next door. For many years, Russia was running, Moscow was running Ukrainian intelligence. When Ukraine became independent, many people who were previously loyal to Moscow now ostensibly become loyal to Kiev. I remember when I traveled to Ukraine in 1997, there was huge problems. I was speaking with the National Security Council of President Kuchma, and they kept warning me about the SBU. They said the SBU is thoroughly infiltrated by the Russian intelligence services, and you can't trust them. And then the SBU was telling me that Kuchma's people were thoroughly infiltrated by Russian intelligence and the CIA, and you couldn't trust them. I was just a simple United Nations official trying to get the Ukrainians to stop selling weapons on the black market to Iraq. But I found myself in the middle of this geopolitical power struggle that showed, if anything, the Ukrainian government it was up for sale to whoever could, pay the price that the corrupt individuals were asking.
I'm switching a little bit. Is Iran selling offensive weaponry to Russia? And wouldn't one expect it to be the other way around?
Well, I don't know. We do know that Russia and Iran have signed a military agreement that has strategic implications to it. Both Russia and Iran have demonstrated in the past that they're willing to cooperate very significantly. And we've seen this with the drones. Remember, when the drone issue was first raised, both sides denied it. Now, even though they're not admitting to it openly, everybody knows what's going on. Here's the thing. Russia understands that the way you reduce casualties on the battlefield is to maximize firepower. Right now, Russia they have a ballistic missile called the Iskander, and it's very effective on the battlefield. Earlier, the Iskander was an Army level asset, meaning that in order to target, you had to go up to the Army level and work that target in. It's a very difficult, slow, cumbersome process. What Russia has done is broken up those brigades and pushed down firing detachments down to the local level. Brigade and division commanders now have an Iskander detachment that can be firing at targets as they appear, as they're developed by drones. To support this, you have to increase the production of Iskanders. Iskanders are produced in one place, that is the Votkins machine building plant. That's where I worked as a weapons inspector back in the 80s and 90s. There's only so many production lines they can do. I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with the production lines in question. And if you get them going maximum, there's X amount of Iskanders you can produce. Without opening up a new facility, you can't produce new Iskanders. The demand for Iskanders on the front line is great. I mean, the Russian commanders love the ability to bring down death and destruction on the Ukrainians, especially projecting in the rear to disrupt logistics, command, and control. Russia would like to have additional capacity. The quickest way to get it is go to Iran and buy ready-to-use systems. And I believe that makes logical sense to bring in systems that replicate the Iskander in terms of operational capability and make sure that they're available to the units that need them on the front line so that Russia continues to kill as many Ukrainians as possible, suffering as few casualties as possible.
Here's Secretary Blinken yesterday on this very subject, cut number 16.
Dozens of Russian military personnel have been trained in Iran to use the Fata 360 close-range ballistic missile system, which has a maximum range of 75 miles. Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine against Ukrainians. Russia has an array of its own ballistic missiles, but the supply of Iranian missiles enables Russia to use more of its arsenal for targets that are further from the front line while dedicating the new missiles it's receiving from Iran for closer range targets. This development and the growing cooperation between Russia and Iran threatens European security and demonstrates how Iran's destabilizing influence reaches far beyond the Middle East.
Aside from the last statement about the threat to European security, did he make sense in what he was explaining? Does he know what he's talking about?
It's clear that he's repeating the intelligence that somebody who knows what they're talking about prepared. Again, it sort of mirrors what I was saying. It makes perfect sense for Russia to do this. I just find it ironic that Iran's bad for working with Russia to improve Russian military capabilities that are being developed in response to a Ukrainian military that has received hundreds of billions of dollars of American and NATO capabilities, to include ATACMS missiles, long-range HIMARS missile systems, modern tanks, F-16s, the whole works. All that's okay. Don't worry about the hundreds of billions that we're providing to Ukraine. But darn it, Iran, don't you dare give the Russians a handful of missiles to, it's just hypocrisy in the extreme. And, ultimately, again, it doesn't matter what Blinken says. This is going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen the way the Russians want it to happen. And the end result will be lots of dead Ukrainians.
This is the moral equivalent of Joe Biden accusing Vladimir Putin of engaging in genocide, which is what he called the special military operation in February of 22. By the way, Victoria Nuland, our old friend, over the weekend acknowledged American and British interference with the diplomatic efforts to avoid war that resulted in an 1.5 inch thick agreement, every page of which was initialed in Istanbul in March of 2022, before Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, "Don't sign it, we got your back."
Yeah, I mean, again, if you want to accuse somebody of genocide, accuse the United States of genocide. Because of the United States, because of Victoria Nuland, because of Boris Johnson, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians have died that didn't need to die. Tens of millions of Ukrainian civilians have been displaced from their homes that didn't need to be displaced. These homes didn't have to be destroyed. And $1 trillion worth of Ukrainian infrastructure and economic potential wouldn't have been lost. Ukraine would be a very healthy nation today, one that was neutral, but would thrive in its neutrality. Instead, we get this wreck of a nation that's only going to get far worse before this is done. Victoria Nuland has the blood of Ukraine on her hands.
Last question. Last night, the Defense Department announced that the United States military commander, I assume an admiral, in the Pacific, called his Chinese counterpart a general and said, "Your ships are getting too close to ours in the South China Sea. Cool it." Do you know about this?
I mean, I've read the reports. The United States and China have agreed, and this is something that, remember when Xi Jinping came and met with Biden in San Francisco, and since then there's been talk between the Ministry of Defense in China and Lloyd Austin about establishing connectivity for deconfliction. So this appears to be an effort by the United States to use this hotline to seek to deconflict. But I don't know how much of this is real and how much of it is spin. I do know that early on in the Biden administration, when Tony Blinken and Jake Sullivan met, I believe in Alaska with their Chinese counterparts, they tried to do the kind of lecturing that this admiral apparently tried to do to his Chinese counterpart, and the Chinese told him to pound sand. That you don't get to talk to us that way, that you're not the superpower that you think you are. In many ways, where you're equal, in some ways where you're superior. And that was the Chinese attitude, 3.5 years ago. I can guarantee you that the Chinese officer on the receiving end of the line didn't stand up and salute smiling and say, "Yes, sir, we're going to back away." I'm fairly certain that he operates under the same instructions that the Chinese diplomats were operating under, to warn the United States that you don't get to order us around. We don't work for you. You don't get to bully us. We can kick your butt anytime we want to. If that's the direction you want to take it, we don't want to go there, but back off. I'm fairly certain that was the Chinese.
Well, why are our ships why is our Navy in the South China Sea, Scott?
Well, I mean, we inherited the Pacific. Part of Manifest Destiny took us across. I mean, we've been in the Philippines since the latter part of since we won the Spanish-American War. Admiral Perry went to Japan in the 1840s. The Pacific is our sea. It's been, the American century in the Pacific, and we want to continue this century. We just haven't woken up to the reality that the rest of the world isn't what it was when we imposed ourselves on the Pacific. Nations, there's been a change. China is growing. China is expanding. And China's not going to accept the Pacific as an unchallenged American sea, so they'll push back. We don't know how to readjust. We continue to live in the past with capabilities that are incapable of projecting similar capacity forward. Our Navy is not up to the task. We have 3 carrier battle groups that we can deploy at any one time, maybe surge a 4th. All 3 right now are dedicated to the Middle East. I'm just wondering where the American admiral is going to get the naval power. I read a report that said we have to decommission 17 ships because we lack the crews to do it. I read another report that said many American ships are operating at 85% staffing because we lack the sailors. I want to know where the admiral is going to get the military power to back up his words. I'm reminded of the words of the commander of the air group in the movie Top Gun when he was chewing out Tom Cruise's character Maverick. Your mouth is writing checks your body can't cash. And that's exactly what is happening here. The United States can't back up the rhetoric of this admiral.
Whew, thank you, Scott. We covered the world, and deeply.
Kofi, follow me.